93.3 FM, Real Talk Radio. If you're watching, then you're watching on YouTube, which is also Warchant TV. We appreciate you, all of you guys in the chat. Hello, good to see you guys. Good to be back here in the comfy confines of the actual studio. Good to have you back, Tom. Good to be on a roll in baseball at 4-0.
Impressive.
Yeah, they can
pitching
pitch.
Staff is impressive.
Yeah, they can really pitch, man. They've played 4 games. They've won all 4. You guys know that. They won again last night. I've only given up 3 earned runs out of the 4 total that have been given up. And really, if we're being honest, they got the kid dead to the rights at third. If you just hold on to the ball, it's a perfect relay throw.
I mean, where did that land in a divot? Somebody take a 5-iron out there?
It was weird.
That was weird.
It just took a left turn. At first, I thought he butchered it, and then I watched the replay, and I go, oh, my apologies. That's just a crazy-ass bounce. But it's a perfectly done relay that, make sure the audio is good again. We've got that. We got it. Anyhow, it's crazy, and they have a perfect relay, and they've got him dead to rights, and he's out by a mile, and we dropped the ball. That's unfortunate, but the point of bringing that up is he would not have scored. He would not have been a run. So, there's a chance Florida State really would have, at this point, given up 2 earned runs all year long, which is amazing.
The good news is, too, that even in a game like that where, you're doing what you do from a pitching standpoint, you still had to rack up important outs and jams and get out of, if you're Abraham, you had to get out of a big-time jam. Even Ben Barrett got shelled around. His first 3 outs that he recorded were all hit well to center.
Yeah.
That is a pitcher's ballpark. I don't know how it plays in April, but in February down there in Tampa, there were about 6 or 7 balls that both teams hit. We hit about 4 out of them, maybe 5, that you think, well, that's in the gap, that's off the wall, that's out of the park, and it's a routine can of corn short of the warning track. That's a big ballpark last night, which tells you that when Max got it, Max got it.
Well, he never misses. He doesn't get cheapies. He'll let you know about it as well. And, the thing of it is with Max, we said it last year, he seems to barrel the baseball better than anybody else on that team. And I thought he barreled the baseball last year better than our 2 stars. Didn't always, he wasn't as consistent with his at-bats. Tibbs was a better player. Smith was a better player. But I felt like you could see it with Max. Some of those guys have that effortless power. Ball jumps off their bats. And he's one of those guys. It's a strength to go along with, barreling. And
he's like Bellinger.
Yeah.
Cody, I mean, he can have some seasons where you go, your average is what?
Yeah.
But when Cody Bellinger catches one,
it's locked in. Yeah. So it's interesting because I think he's a star, obviously. I said coming into this season, really at the end of last year when we were talking about him, I thought offensively that you might, barring, any problems, knock on wood, with health, you just pencil in 20. He's got prodigious power. And they're going to play in some ballparks that don't require you to hit it as far as he did last night. And his was way out last night. I mean, way out. That's out of any ballpark that they play in. That's out in Omaha. That's out, period. So he doesn't need a few cheapies. He doesn't need the right field fence at Hauser to get a few that you wouldn't have otherwise. His go a long ways. Now, that said, he'll get a few. That'll just be big league pop-ups that'll leave the yard. And so he's going to end up, I think, with 20 home runs. And I just like that they're overall athletic, and they've got a lot of versatility and a lot of ways to get you out. They've got swing and miss stuff out of the bullpen. They got guys, I think, after watching all 3 games over the weekend and then this game yesterday, you're starting to realize that it's a wonderful mix of, okay, we need a little something off speed from the left side. We got that in the pen. We need a power arm to make you, in an important at-bat, have to deal with 96, 97 up. We've got that too. There's just a wide variety. And then the play Lodis makes at the end of the game is kind of indicative of the way they played defense all weekend long. They were really good picking up the baseball, and they look confident doing it. That's the other thing. They don't look like guys that are like, oh, hey, they're all sort of, we're supposed to make that play. And if you think of the way that Link wants to build the team and what he emphasizes and what he's talked about all along, it shouldn't be surprising that the leap forward, you knew they couldn't take a leap forward in power this year. There would be no way to match the power from a year ago. But you knew they could take a leap forward in defensive play in the outfield, and we're seeing that. And you knew they could take a leap forward in how aggressive they were on the base paths and overall athleticism. So now they have some speed to make up for what they lost with power. They're better defensively, and they've got a bunch of arms. And you can figure out that lineup the rest of the year because the pitching is going to keep you in every game you play. And, yeah, I mean, listen, it's a long season. You play 55 games or whatever. You're going to have a night where somebody stinks, whatever. But for the most part, you kind of just know going into any game, oh, we'll be in this thing. I mean, we might be down 3-0 if we're having trouble figuring it out, but we'll be in the game.
Yeah, last night's game was the first one I saw start to finish, and the sense I'm getting, in addition to watching highlights or, extended cuts of the previous games, is just what you're talking about is we're going to get to a lot of baseballs defensively. We might not always make the play on them, but getting to the baseball to cut it off, to keep it out of the, going to the outfield,
right.
The infielder gets to it, it keeps a single instead of a hustle double. You could hold somebody in the gap to a single rather than a stand-up double. Like little things like that. You steal bases, you get value out of that. Acquiring value, I think, is what Link says on the base pass in terms of stolen bases. So, yes, all of these little things. And then also if managers make dumb decisions, like last night, I couldn't believe it that with one out, runners on second and third in the ninth inning, we have a base open and a right-hander at the plate. You're going to bring the infield in and not just walk the bases loaded so you have more places to go for a force out with the catcher on deck?
Right.
I love when I see other managers, and that's a first-year manager for USF.
Yeah.
I love seeing when other managers make decisions like that where you say, oh, well, you're just inviting us to blow this game open. And thankfully, that 2-run single mattered greatly by the end of it.
Well, it certainly made for a little less pressure when you got into a pickle in the ninth. A lot less pressure is the way you would look at that.
Base open, pal. Like, if this guy puts the ball in play, you're in trouble. And so it was.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, Tom, that they did a good job, and they did it again last night, of when you get opportunities or a poor decision is made and you have a chance to capitalize. I'm very careful about saying something portends of this ability to do it later on. It could just be happenstance. We talk, you'll hear people say a lot of things about, well, they just don't, they're not very clutch and things like that. They don't get big 2-out hits. It's sort of the byproduct of a little bit of luck. A lot of times you played in the back of your baseball card and it happens to be your time to get a hit as a 270 hitter, then it plays out that way sometimes. But every time James Madison made mistakes in the infield or the outfield, and they made both, it seemed like they got absolutely punished for it in a way that almost seemed unreasonable. I mean, they'd make an error with 2 outs and nobody on. And, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, there's a runner on first. We'll see. I mean, you still got to come up with a couple of hits here in all likelihood. Stinging double in the gap, first pitch, next batter. You're like, okay, well, all right, then. If they butchered an opportunity to get out of an inning, there's a 440-foot blast from Max. You're like, well, that'll hurt your feelings. You should have been out of that inning. Instead, it's a 3-run homer. Like that kind of stuff happened to them over the weekend, which is a credit to Florida State for, hey, you got a second chance here. You got a 4th out, if you will. Make something happen. And they've done that through 4 games. Again, it's hard to project that that's always going to happen. I always used to look at box scores, and you'd hear people say, God, I can't believe we left 16 guys on base yesterday. I'd be like, well, it's a good sign. Got a lot of people on base over and over and over again. We've got people on base. It'll fall in our favor at some point.
I like that the hits are coming from different places too. Again, just studying the box scores from afar, you saw the games up close over the weekend, but last night also Chase getting the big 2-run triple, which he's on third base immediately. Once the ball leaves the infield, you don't have to think about that. He can stand if he wants to. He can really go. But I do like that early. Lodi started well this past weekend. I know Farrow did, right, too? Didn't Farrow have an excellent weekend?
Home run for both sides of the plate. Yep.
Right. So it doesn't only center around Max Williams. That was my one concern coming into the season. It's 4 games in. There's plenty of time for this to shake out. Maybe it still goes that way. I just was hoping I wouldn't see Max at the center of all things offensively early, and you say, that's great that he started hot, but can anybody else come up with a hit that matters? Well, you're seeing that already. And so much so that I thought there were a couple of moments last night where Link could have stolen a base if he really wanted to instill an extra mentality, but he didn't need to. I like seeing that.
So they're good. They're fun. It's going to be a good year. We'll see how great everything we monitor now. It's like the old days where you come into a season knowing your team is good. The question is, how good can they be? How good will they be as the season goes on? How good will they be in conference play? How good will they be in the postseason? All these are things that we project if you establish the baseline of goodness, for lack of a better term. And I just think that that's going to be the mindset and the reality for Florida State baseball for the foreseeable future. There's a weight that has been lifted, and this fan base feels it. You sense the energy in the ballpark, the enthusiasm for the style of play, the focus, the attention to detail, the success a year ago of being a last four standing, going back to the College World Series, how quickly this got turned around from god-awful to really good. And then when those interviews take place, and I think Link and Micah do themselves justice and real favors by doing as many of these interviews as they can, whether they're the ones with me or the ones they do in-house for Florida State, because I think it reveals something. It's not always like, it's not a laugh a minute type thing. But what it is a focus and a seriousness and attention to detail and an obvious agenda. And I mean that in the right way, right? They have a path, they have a way they want to do things. They have a modus operandi that you can listen to, hear, digest, and suggest. That makes sense. Hadn't thought about that. I'm glad they have. That kind of stuff. Like, they do a very good job of laying bare the plan. And then you go and watch and you go, oh, okay, yeah, he was talking about that. That makes sense. Oh, they are going to try that. Okay. And you just feel like you're in good hands right now. You really do. I think the baseball program is in a great place. It's the opposite of the basketball program right now. It's the antithesis. We know basketball is, on its last legs. And, it's sad to say that. I love Leonard Hamilton. I've talked about that a lot. We all know he's retiring. So this is just sort of a rudderless ship until they announce the hiring of the next head coach. And in the interim, you're just kind of left watching them play out the string. So you feel bereft of hope when you walk into the TLC Double C and you're just going, this will be over soon. It'd be nice to get a win tonight, but we'll see. And that's no way to be. And you don't feel that way at all when you walk into Hauser, or if you go watch the softball team or any of those things. You feel very emboldened and excited about the product you're going to see. You feel very confident that Florida State may not win that night, but they're a really good team and they got a great chance to do so.
And there are reasons why they make the decisions that they make. Like last night, Link was talking about pre-game discussions with Posey about how many pitches they wanted to cap their guys at. And, that it landed in certain spots that they were hopeful that it would land for Abraham or Barrett. Just Link is exhaustive in his process. And I would say early on through 4 games, his assessment of what the team is or what it was going to be early in the season was transparent.
Yeah.
He was willing to be honest. Lineup's going to need some things to, they're going to have to grow a little bit, but we're going to pitch and we're going to field the baseball. And that's exactly where they are right now.
Yeah, and I still think that, because we were so unbelievably, and I don't throw this around loosely because people love to tell other people that they're spoiled or fan bases are spoiled. But if you have high standards, you have high standards. But the bottom line is I still think we were so spoiled a year ago by the length of that lineup and the prodigious power it possessed from 1 through about 7 or 8. It was ridiculous that if you made mistakes or got behind in the count to one of those guys deep in the hole, you could get punished badly. That's not most lineups. That's not how baseball is. Typically, you don't have 7 deep that you can count on to turn one around. Everybody's got a roll, but this won't be that this year. But I don't think they're going to struggle offensively. I think they're going to be good offensively. It's just that we're going to compare it to last year's power, which is going to be an unfair comparison.
I'm glad that as that season went along and we got into ACC play and you saw how sustainable it was.
Right.
Because it's one thing to do it in the first month of the season. You're playing a bunch of Northern teams. It's where kind of the midweeks matter more a little bit. But as the season went along, I think we presented that correctly. Sometimes we don't know the moment we're living in.
Sure.
But last year, I think we did a good job of saying, this is about as good as it's ever been. I mean, just
silly.
If you're talking 1 through 9, not superstardom in the middle of the order, it's been better. It's been better
Sure.
than it was last
Yeah.
year. But if you're talking about consistent threats from 1 through 9, this is about as good as it gets. And it was a lot of fun to watch. You're right. This year, it's going to have to be manufactured a little bit more or developed.
Yeah. And, some of it will also depend on how quickly does Miles start hitting for power. He's
or contact.
Yeah. But he had the 3-hit day on Sunday, so we'll see. I thought that was important. I thought that was important for him to get a few under his belt. Hey, can you imagine being a kid at Lincoln and you're desperate to play at Florida State? It's in your backyard. You know the history of this program. You know everything about it. And then you get that opportunity. It probably is a little overwhelming, even though he looks like a 40-year-old man. And I say that as a compliment. He's a house, but he's a kid. He's a kid. And he's got to be completely overwhelmed at times donning that uniform and getting that opportunity. And, by the way, they got another guy over there at first base that's not going to play for a few weeks. That's a little banged up. They got to get right before they bring him back out there. And that'll be more power that they have that they'll use as DH, so that they'll be adding to this. They'll infuse this lineup with a little bit more power.
I think Bailey's one of the guys that Link was picturing in his mind when he said quality of at-bats from the left side of the plate. Right? But that's also, it's all part of the growth process.
Oh, yeah.
When you're this good in other places, it's not as huge of a concern. And you're saying you're letting us down. Instead, it's, give him time. Our pitchers will give him time. Our fielders will give him time. And then once he arrives, talked about that with the Cardinals and the Braves for decades. If you arrive into a ready-made organization, you arrive hitting 7th or 8th, there's no pressure on you. Look how quickly those guys get up to 3rd, 4th, or 5th in the order because there's no pressure on them.
Right,
That's what we're building here. This thing's a machine now. It looks good.
Florida State is trying to flip a legacy, one I remember very, very well. We'll take a trip down memory lane and talk about said legacy, but moreover, his son, who they're trying to flip from Michigan. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites.
A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL home inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus, and my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919.
ACN Electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away. On the license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
Bull riding, the perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's PBR Tallahassee at Donald L. Tucker Civic Center, March 14th and 15th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
That's who we have next week? Freaking Penn? Or this upcoming week?
Yeah. Penn.
I don't want to play Penn. I only want to play really good teams. I want to go back to yesteryear, although it is a good schedule this year. I want to go back to the days in which Arizona State was rolling in here. You had a series at Stanford, something like that. That's what I want. I do want to say this at the outset of this segment, and you're going to hear me repeat this a lot because I want as many people as possible to have a chance to win this. This is cool, and it's impromptu. We weren't sure this was going to happen, but it is happening. So if you have a chance to take advantage of this, please do. Heads up. You paying attention, everybody? You there at the red light, grab a pen. Only at a red light. Or type it into your notes.
It's green. Go.
I want you guys, if you can, hear me out on this, text Knowles, N-O-L-E-S, obviously. Text Knowles to 850-386-8255. Tom will put it up on the screen for those of you. But if you're not in Tallahassee, it's not going to do you any good. This is a Tallahassee thing. Text Knowles, N-O-L-E-S, to 850-386-8255 for a chance to win 4 club-level tickets to FSU basketball tonight versus Miami at 9 p.m. You want 4 club-level tickets to FSU basketball tonight? Here's your shot. 9 p.m. tip. 850-386-8255 for a chance to win 4 club-level tickets, FSU basketball. We will announce the winner at the end of the show. I'm here in studio all 3 hours today. That's including the bonus hour. We're in studio. I'll keep doing this thing and throwing it out there as the new listeners jump on board throughout the afternoon. But you guys get a head start. Text Knowles to 850-386-8255, and we'll pick the winner at the end. There we go. So, Bradley Jennings was a really good football player, and I was laughing when I saw that we were attempting to flip his son, who is committed to Michigan. Brody Jennings is a kid that is one of the best corners in the country, and we're trying to get him. What's wrong?
No, I was just reacting to the name Brody Jennings. I was thinking about, does that fit the position? I think it does.
Kind of. It's weird. Bradley Jennings was a perfect name for a linebacker, especially that linebacker whose nickname was Monster, and I remember it well. Brody Jennings, yeah, I can see you there. Brody
has a little bit more finesse to it.
It does more than Bradley.
Yeah, right.
The problem is they both sound like country singers.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But I say the problem, I just like, if I'm thinking about a middle linebacker, I don't want to think about a modern country star. Now, maybe an old school kick-ass Waylon Jennings type country star.
Christopherson.
Yeah, somebody who actually, real country. Yes, that, as opposed to the Pepsi commercial that is modern country radio. Yeah, well, you're right. That's a tough one. Either way, we want to get Brody to say no to Michigan and yes to Florida State. And frankly, this should be pretty normal. I know that things have changed dramatically in recruiting, but I'm about tired of having to fight like hell to try to convince a kid whose dad was a stud at Florida State to come to Florida State. Like, can we please put ourselves in a position where kids don't have to look at us and go, yeah, I'd like to go to Florida State. I mean, after all, my dad whooped ass there. It's been a part of my life, my whole life. I've always seen the memorabilia from my father's legacy there at Florida State. But, they kind of suck. So I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm done with that. I think we all are. Like, don't make that be a thing to where Brody's watching and going, well, I mean, I don't know, guys. I'd like to go there, Dad, but they're 2-10.
Not exactly the school you went to, Dad.
Yeah, I mean, can we not do that? So that's where we're at. We're trying to, it is said to be a solid pledge to the Wolverines. And they have produced a boatload of NFL talent on that side of the ball in particular in the last few years. I mean, Michigan has been a machine in the NFL draft for defensive talent. It's the only reason they won games last year at all. Their offense was dreadful, but their defense was very, very good, and it helped them avoid a 2-10 season. So, I get it. I get why kids would be like, well, they want me. I'll go there. They're steady putting NFL talent out there. I'm just hoping that we are moving on and we are at a place where Tony White and those guys, they're not going to give them any reason to look out there and say, I can't go to Florida State. They're going to say, I really want to go to Florida State. Look at the way they're playing. And I talked about this yesterday, the quotes from Tony, and I just, this spring football camp cannot get here soon enough for me. I know, and there'll be plenty of you guys to do it on our staff. Everybody's going to want to talk about that offense because our offense was putrid a year ago. It was an embarrassment to football, really, of any generation. You go back to the teens, and there were better offenses than our offense a year ago. I'm talking about the early 1900s. I'm not talking about the beginning of this century, but this is like the defense to me is going to be the whole thing every day because he keeps doubling down. He keeps talking about how nasty and physical they are going to teach it and want it to be. And I don't get the sense that Tony White is half-stepping when he's talking about imparting that, teaching that, and implementing that. And so, I know I've seen Gus Malzahn's offense. I've seen it when it's good. So I'd like to assume that there will be some level inching towards good of that version of his offense that I've seen in the past with some wrinkles. But man, it's been a minute since we've seen a dominant start to finish, the style in which they play defense that you can puff out your chest and know every week. Because I know 2 years ago, that defense was really good. It was largely dominant down the stretch. And it was largely dominant down the stretch because they had good players and they played a whole bunch of bad quarterbacks. So there was that. I'm talking about set it and forget it. I know this defense is nasty, is going to dominate. 2013.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was
2015.
Yeah. They were very good in 2015, too. That's right.
Oh, man.
But 2013, you were kind of like, ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. It was ugly. There was a different, come on, we're all admitted here, much different aura to that defense than the one from a couple years ago. There just was. It was a much better defense. And I want that kind of tenacity, ferocity. I want that kind of reputation. I want to see a defense that's borderline criminal. That there are some things that you're like, oh, another one of those personal fouls. We did catch him under the chin, didn't we? Well, it's what happens when you're aggressive to the football. That's the kind of conversation I want to have.
Yeah, where I get a text after an ejection, and you text, I love Tony White. That's what you want.
Yes.
I don't think he's gaslighting everybody over and over and over again, because for him, this is it.
Yes.
This is my chance to change. Look, I'm making a lot of money right now if I'm Tony White, but this is my chance to go generational wealth. This is my chance to get the job of my dreams. This is my chance to become a head coach for multiple decades at this level or the next level. If I get it right here when I'm in Tallahassee and I coach the guys the style that I know I want a defense to play, I'm going to be hired as a head coach in short order, and I'm going to change the course of my life forever. So for him, this is just a huge moment. It's much like, another golf analogy, a guy coming down the stretch in the final round, and if he wins, he gets status for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, all of that pressure goes away. This is Tony White's moment right here, right now. If he gets this right, he will be a head coach, and all of his dreams and aspirations as a coach will come true.
Well, on that note, back to the kid himself. This is Brody Jennings, and he's a stud. And it would be great to get him, obviously, to man one of the corner spots and have a kid that you're excited to see play. But I more than that, and we'll see. Recruiting's so weird these days. I don't spend too much time on it. But I did like Brody's comments in regards to having spoken with Tony White. Quote, I talked with Coach White last Thursday. It was really good. He was telling me how his defense is going to take off and how it's going to be much different. He said they're going to do it not by talking, but through example. He also wants me to become a Seminole. So it's like, hold on a second. We'll worry about Florida State in a second. Do you know how we're going to play and the kind of ass whipping we're going to be doing? And you can just picture him talking about the style of play. And then at the very end, he goes, don't you want to be a Seminole? I mean, I love the idea of that. Don't just pitch the spear. Pitch what you're going to do and why you would want to wear that helmet beyond the fact that your dad did. Because we're going to play a certain way, and you're going to want to be part of that. No, by the way, it's pretty cool. You get to be a Knoll, and so was your dad.
Well, that's the power of being a new coach in that situation. This is the new car smell that Norvell really didn't get a chance to capitalize on when he took over here.
That's true.
You get to say these things to a kid's face, not through a Zoom, not through a plastic mask or a visor. You look them right in the face and you say, write it down. In fact, here's a pen. Here's a piece of paper. Write it down. This is what we're about to do. And after 3-4 weeks, you don't see that. This fall, I'll lose your number. But when we do it, expect a phone call, young man, because this is what we're going to be about. And if you can get in the room with kids and say those things, and then you can get on the field with the kids that are here on campus and do those things, there you go. You just established a lot of credibility in short order. And that's exciting because it's new as well. Because his dad will go nuts and say, this is what I remember. This is what we should look like, son. I think it's okay for you to go there now.
Well, his dad was a beast, and I know that you have vague remembrances of Bradley Jennings, who originally arrived in Tallahassee in the 90s, 97, but was here through 2001, so you might have some memories of Bradley. But he was a horse. He was a monster. He was a 100-plus tackle guy. Literally had that in 2 different seasons. He was that kind of player. And I remember how big he was. By the time he left here, he was weighing in at 250 pounds and just old school. I love that idea of what he was, and I miss it. The game's changed some, but anyhow, he was that kind of baller. So I can imagine he would love a reason for his son to get excited about coming to Florida State. Hopefully that reason's Tony White.
Doesn't the game have a chance to resemble what you loved more now than it has in a long time? Because if offenses are going smaller personnel, more condensed.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to be close to the line of scrimmage, and power is now at least somewhat in vogue as a legitimate strategy to win a title.
Yeah, the Eagles just did it. Yeah.
In both college and pro. Michigan just did it.
Right.
There's a chance that the old school linebackers of yesteryear,
that Mike linebacker that was weighing at 246 that you needed to come in there and fill, yes.
They might be needed again.
You know, it is a great point because we just watched it happen in the league, and Michigan a couple years ago. You are right. I think this, to varying degrees, Ohio State was kind of old school, but I would.
Notre Dame was.
Yeah.
Penn State was.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, remember this was easily for many people predictable because we watch the cycles in the NFL as well as college and the things that are in vogue and the responses to those things. And one side of the ball is usually dictating to the other for a period of time, but there's always a response. Nobody stays down and dominated, whether if it's a defense getting gashed by modern offenses because of some things that have been introduced to playing offense, whether that's tempo or spread or whatever it might be, right? Defenses begin to figure it out. It's their job. They have to. Defensive coordinators are paid handsomely. They don't want to get fired. So they're starting to look around, say 10 years ago, okay, how do we stop this? These guys are running 100 plays on us. What do we have to do to get off the damn field? And then they make the adjustments. And then back and forth we go. Well, we just had an unprecedented run for a very long time where offenses dictated terms to defenses by and large. And that included even at places like Alabama, where they were once this defensive stalwart, where you just would watch them every year and go, oof, those are some dudes over there. That's where the Bama table originated from when I was talking about that.
And it's Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson and Derrick Henry. Those are the stars.
That's just, right here. Right. It's all of that. Well, then the game changed. And Alabama and Saban had to make adjustments. And we saw lots of teams who had to change who they were, their identity, all of it. They had to win. So they were, you know what? I guess it's not going to work anymore. We got to do this. Let's get used to it and figure it out. And they did. Well, now you've seen offenses respond and just decide, all right, look, you want to be out here with a bunch of defensive backs. You want to have extra speed on the field, 6 DBs out here at any given time. No, man. Let's have them come up and tackle. Let's see if they can tackle anybody. Here, I'm going to run right at them. You got a lot of speed out here to deal with our lengthy wide receivers and the adjustment in the game. Nope, I'm going to run right at your ass. How physical are you? And you're right. I think there's a distinct possibility you could. And we're attempting to do that. Now, I think it should be sort of a hybrid of what Gus has run in the past, and I think it probably will be based on some of the weaponry that he has. That will be interesting, but I just want to see a defense that can answer that kind of call. A defense that is going to swarm, that is going to hit, that is going to play as nasty as Tony White keeps describing the defense that he wants to implement here. I just don't know how quickly the personnel will match the goal. That's the biggest question we have. Just because you want to do something doesn't mean that you can by just saying, well, this is what we're going to do. You've got to have the dudes to do that. I don't know. That's what camp's for. That's what the fall's for. We don't know. We'll have to see it in practice. But I know what he wants to do in principle.
You can see signs, though, that mentality is taking hold. It doesn't mean that you're good enough to get off the field. I point to 2010's defense all the time. It wasn't the greatest defense in terms of, preventing opponents from scoring.
Right.
But they had the mentality. That 2009 was the year that we played Georgia Tech here. There was a lightning delay. We punted once in the football game and we lost.
Yeah.
And there were other performances that were on that level where you say, this is an abomination. And within 1 year, the mentality flipped.
Yeah.
Didn't mean that they always got off the field. By God, against Virginia Tech, you couldn't get any stops because you were out of interior defensive lineman. You're done.
Roller skates.
Because you didn't have the depth. But they had the will. They got fresh in time for the South Carolina game, and Lattimore found out. Again, he found out.
That poor man.
That poor man.
That's a tough
It was Greg Reed, though. I mean, come on now.
That should not have happened, but somehow his teeth got bashed in. Something to behold.
That's what a mentality can do. You can love that team and they can be flawed. I'll at least take that much this year.
For all your commercial and residential roofing and construction needs, call T-Spark Enterprises. Sorry about that, T-Spark. at 850-766-1340. They serve the North Florida and South Georgia areas, as well as, of course, Tallahassee, Monticello, Havana, Quincy, Crawfordville, Wakulla, Madison, Thomasville, Bainbridge. We go on and on. Cairo. Sound like Lee talking about
Carrollwood.
They are a GAF Coatings Pro liquid applied roofing contractor. They have been certified by GAF to do that. T-Spark not only does commercial and residential roofing, but also helps with home remodeling, additions, businesses as well. They take safety very, very seriously. T-Spark staff goes through their safety training every Monday with the entirety of their staff. So it's good to have them back on board. License number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204. Now, again, you want to give them a call? 850-766-1340. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 56 this afternoon under overcast skies with a chance for isolated rain showers, winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight. Slight chance for rain. Lows dip down to about 40. Highs level off around 52 tomorrow. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 53.
Country rock trailblazer, Bradley Gilbert, the Tattoos Tour 2025. These angels from the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center on Friday, April 11th, with special guests Travis Denning and Austin Snell. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. The brand new album Tattoos is available everywhere. For more, visit BradleyGilbert.com. Produced by Pepper Entertainment.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers are serviced to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds
there's
of.
There's families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yeah,
and then
Yeti.
Here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And, but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
But I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Great opportunity to be sitting in the club seats, club level, tonight for FSU basketball against Miami. All you have to do is text Noles, N-O-L-E-S, to 850-386-8255. Text Noles to 850-386-8255 for your chance to win 4 club-level tickets to FSU basketball tonight versus Miami at 9 o'clock. If I were a younger man, we would be taking it to the club level tonight, Tom, for some tall, cold ones and we would just ignore the fact that our basketball program was in shambles. It was just the spirit of Florida State Miami that would propel us over to that parking lot for some pregame tall boys, followed by some what for in the stands as we yell out against the hated Canes. Be a beautiful thing.
It's amazing what time does, to cool off that fire. Doesn't mean that the fire is completely gone. The ember is still there.
It is.
But the raging fire of being in your 20s is something that's very real, and you might as well embrace it when you're in your 20s because it does leave you.
Yeah, the ability to overcome the lethargy that comes with, I mean, even if you're working out and all that, like 9, 10 o'clock hits, you go, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm getting a little tired. I'm getting a little tired out here.
Well, it's also, without even trying, you just start to plan as you get older.
Yeah.
You just start to plan more.
This over the next 3 days. And if I'm at that basketball game, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't do it all. There is a resignation, a humility that comes with getting older where you say,
humbling.
I can't say yes to all of this. So I have to pick 2 of 4. Doesn't that suck? And I'm sure when you get in your 60s or 70s, you got to pick 1 of 3.
Well, and if it's you and me, oftentimes it's us saying, yes, I do want to play golf with you on Thursday, Tom. So let's not go to the basketball game at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. That's usually how that works. Usually. Very quickly, I thought everybody would be happy about this, but you in particular. So here you go. And I think this is going to be a continued strategic endeavor from a commissioner who I otherwise kind of loathe, but has fallen into the right thing, not once, but maybe twice now here real soon. 13 stadiums and over 60% of the Cactus and Grapefruit League games that you're about to see starting in spring training this week are going to feature an automated ball strike challenge system. It's known as the ABS. I'm sure you've read about this. But for those that haven't, they're going to continue to inch closer to using it during the regular season. And it may not happen until 2026, maybe even 2027, but they are pushing this at the behest of the commissioner, who thinks it's a great idea. And I agree with him. And I even like the way they're going about the process. The league is testing out the system at the big league level for the first time after they've been experimenting with this, with the ABS, in the minor leagues. Now, he's reached out to all the clubs that are going to be in stadiums in which ABS is installed. It's not in every stadium in the Cactus or Grapefruit leagues. It is in where the Mets play. It is in where the Pirates play. So that's all I care about. The rest of you can go to hell. But here you go. It's 5 Cactus and 8 Grapefruit, I think it is. So the way the system works is...
It's my weekly shopping list.
The way the system works is this. Only a batter, a catcher, or a pitcher, not a manager, can't come from the clubhouse, can't come from on high. It's a batter and a pitcher and a catcher. The battery. That's it. That's all. That can challenge a ball strike call. So how many times have you been watching a game and an ump just straight misses it? Now, Major League Baseball studies have shown that the umpires are better than we would all give them credit for. They're right on their ball strike calls based on that system that they have. Somewhere near 77 to 80% of the time, maybe even 85% some years is the standard. Like they may miss, and we're talking about missed calls by a fraction of an inch. That is the given understanding of, it's like a little bit like when they clock you for speeding. If it's a 55, in theory, can't give you a speeding ticket within 4 miles per hour one way or the other. If you're going 59 and a half, let that go. You're in violation, or we're not going to worry about it. That's the human error, the fallibility. They give you a little bit of reason. You don't really start getting docked until you start missing calls that are like an inch and a half off the plate and you call it a strike. Now, John, you're going to have to do better than that. That's when they come in. So anyhow, the point would be this, though. We've all watched a game. Usually it happens in every single game you watch, and that is normal because human beings aren't perfect. They get fooled sometimes. Imagine trying to, and I mean this not just because he's my guy, Paul Skeens throws 5 to 6 pitches for strikes. They all look very different, and they are moving. It is tough. And we've seen umpires get completely locked up, much the same way a hitter does, on a slider that starts at somebody's hip and ends up on the outside corner. Like, that could not have happened. Ball, I think. You'll see that, right? And you'll see Skeens smile and ask for the ball. Like, oh, man. So, I do that. So now he could just say, nope, we're challenging that. And inside of 17 seconds, they will have the answer. Yay or nay, ball or strike. If you get it right, you get to keep your challenge. Now, you get 2 of these a game as a team. So either that's a hitter or a pitcher. So, you want to use these judiciously. So if it's the second inning of a 0-0 game with 2 outs and nobody on, and it's a 1-1 pitch, I'm going to tell my hitter, we ain't challenging nothing, my man. Just like, let's not waste this here. There'll have to be strategic conversations about when you can or cannot do that. But all a hitter has to do if he wants to challenge a ball strike call is tap his helmet. That's all he has to do and he has to do it right away. So you think you got jobbed on a call that is clearly inside, clearly up, clearly away, whatever it might be, and it's a big at-bat, it's a big moment, you step out, and they pull up there and they take a look at it. And ideally, it'll be done in under 10 seconds. This is the one where I thought it would be interesting because, in tennis, they do it almost instantaneously. In tennis, when somebody in Thomas Long alleged that they're just making it up.
It's amazing. Baseball is going to take 15 seconds longer than tennis.
No.
Wow.
It's not. They say that it has to be done in under 17 seconds, which is the right thing because we've just done so much to speed up these games. And we can continue to talk about this later, but I love that they're doing this. They want to push this. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Preston, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Florida State basketball has won 2 of their last 3 ACC games. They are in action tonight as they are set to play host to Miami when these two teams matched up back on January 8th. It was Florida State coming away with the win, 80-65. In fact, Florida State has won 13 of the last 14 games that they have played against Miami. Florida basketball, they had no problem yesterday as they defeat Oklahoma, winning 85-63. Walter Clayton Jr. scored 18 points. Will Richard adding 14. Florida's going to play at LSU. That's going to be coming up on Saturday. Also this evening, Central Florida basketball. They are headed to Stillwater, Oklahoma for a matchup against Oklahoma State. I'm Matt Pauley with your Sports Flash, powered by Progressive on Real Talk 93.3.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out?
It's Spruce, the new hardworking, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business. Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it and will beat any print quote. Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs. No problem. I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens. Totally. I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing. I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLR 373031.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
to us. We appreciate that always here at the JCS. It's at Jay Cameron Show on Twitter. Terrestrial radio, as you well know, 93.3 FM. YouTube, Warchant TV. And onward we go. I will put a ribbon on what we were just talking about. Pitchers, catchers, batters capable of signaling that call ain't going to get it done, my man. Let's take a look at it. You get 2 a game. You get it right. You keep your 2. In theory, you could call for a review on, like, say, 8 different pitches. If you get the first 6 right, you could just keep going. So that's cool. I think it's a good idea. The whole thing is Manfred wants it done quickly. They're going to keep it as a permanent thing in AAA this year in every game to measure and see how it works. So far in the places that they've had it, it's added a grand total of 1 minute and 7 seconds to games. Seems to me that it's a win-win across the board.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat of a win. I would categorize it as a half measure or a quarter measure because what you're telling me is you have all the answers and you're going to allow for some of the answers to be incorrect by design. But you have all the answers and you could relay them in a timely fashion where you just say, I saw a quote from the league representative. Her last name is Sword or Swords.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying that, one of the casualties of this might be that the K zone on the television broadcast is removed because they don't want the benches or the dugouts to be signaling to the battery that they got a call wrong with the proper information, because that would create an obvious situation in which one would challenge and it would destroy the drama and the integrity of the challenge rather than, just having the umpire be a middle person for the ABS system to say strike or ball, and then there doesn't need to be an argument ever at any point.
Also, I think that's negated anyhow because the rule is very strict, and I like the rule. I don't want any half-stepping. You don't get to look over, and we don't do the thing that they do in the NFL where they're like holding everybody and making you wait over and over and over again. You don't get to sit over there and stare over there about running a play. No, none of that nonsense. If you think it's that bad, if you think it's egregious, you're in the box, you see it. If you're a pitcher and you throw a strike and you know damn well that's a strike and he calls it a ball, it takes a millisecond for you to go, nah, man. We don't need this.
I agree. It just, to me, what also takes a millisecond is ABS to tell the umpire it's a strike and the umpire to raise his arm. And that way we never have to worry about it again. The ump show, at least when it comes to balls and strikes,
is over.
Unless there's a malfunction in the system where they have to come back and play human for 5 minutes. I would love that.
Well,
you have the answers. What you're telling me is that system will be ready at any moment to rule on a challenge, any pitch of any game.
Yeah, I do think it's also telling you this is where they're headed. Celebrate the incremental steps forward. They ease it in. It's a little bit more digestible for the average fan who is not as adamant as you are about it. And I think that they'll get there. We'll get used to seeing it over time, and people will just go, okay. The one thing I will say, the experiments in the minor league showed that the overturn rate is only 50%. So as often as we think that they get it wrong, remember, people are challenging calls that they think, in essence, are egregious. And they're still only getting that right 50% of the time, meaning the players that are complaining are only getting that right 50% of the time. I would have thought that number would be much higher. Because, we see pitches every game where a guy's like, come on, man, and steps out of the box. And they're only getting that right 50% of the time.
I think the hardest one to legislate, and I think you would agree with this, is a side tossing lefty facing a left-handed batter. What's the outside corner?
Yeah.
Because I swear to God, there are games I watch where I see it at 6 inches outside the plate. Never. What are we doing?
Well,
it's 0-1.
Let's.
I look forward to that being ruled on. I hope you're right. This is the gateway drug that gets people hooked on everything.
I think it is.
If it is, then so be it. But if it's this little half step because they want to make TV drama, that's the same thing as the golden at bat rule to me. You have the answers. And you're just deciding to ignore them because you'd rather there be heightened drama on a challenge late in the game.
Well, that golden at bat should never happen, and that would ruin baseball. So that should never happen.
It's just creating drama where there doesn't need to be. That's where I think these are the same things.
By the way, really quickly, though, I do want to ask this question, and I'm falling at the mercy of the court here because I did not get a chance to go back and do it again. So maybe you guys did and saw it 7 or 8 different ways. I saw it 2 different ways, because I was cooking something. But during Florida State's game last night, the slide at second, that he successfully avoids the tag on and then challenges. And they go in, the umps go in and look at the replay, and they still call him out because out was the call on the field. The two replays that I saw, he successfully did the swim move and got his hand in before the tag. I don't know, did he come off the bag and did he hold it? I didn't see the rest of it. All I saw, because I had to run back into the kitchen where I was cooking something, all I saw was that when they came back out, my man went like that. And this is part of a trend. And before I impugn the integrity of those particular umpires, I will tell you that my bigger problem is that in college baseball, it would appear to me that replay is utterly useless, that they refuse to overturn calls that they get wrong, even egregious calls that they get wrong, and they take too GD long to figure out that they're going to screw you. They routinely will not change the call. Then when they do look at it and see this is obviously a poor call, whatever measures they have in place, they've decided this doesn't reach the evidence necessary for us to overturn our insanely poor call that everybody has now seen 16 different ways from Sunday because the review process takes an hour. Just get rid of it. In college baseball, get rid of reviews. They never overturn anything, and they get it wrong, and they're indignant about it too. There's always this look like they're pissed off that you challenged it. It infuriates me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's the same thing in softball as well. It's almost as though they are, because you give them an inch for the ump show, they take a mile. It's almost as though via protest, they'll take longer because screw you, the affront to the rules of the game, the traditions of the game. I'm going to take my time. Well, if you're going to challenge, I'm going to go get a soda. I might even use the bathroom. I'll be right back when I damn well please. It's the lack of oversight. I think a lot of this is defiance. I think a lot of this is ignoring what the replay is and ignoring your job because your sensibilities are hurt, because you're soft. I'm not saying it happens to all umpires. I'm sure there's 2 or 3 listening that are so offended by what I'm saying, but I believe you're right. Because unless those monitor screens in the dugout are 1974 fuzzy or 12 inches to where you can't really tell what's going on,
right,
there is no excuse.
Oh, and here's what I'm going to tell you that I think it is. Some of it might be pettiness, sure. Certainly human beings are known. I think it's partly that whatever rules they have in place, I need to ask Eric Llewell on this. I'm sure he knows this. But I've heard him get pissed about this too, and we've talked about this. I think anybody that pays attention to college baseball, It's like, God, dog it, guys.
Professionally pissed.
Yes, it's insane. But when I'm watching that, and it's abundantly clear on the first replay, I just don't understand how the hell it takes them that long to confirm what they're always going to confirm, which is that their guy wasn't wrong. Don't even bother. Just don't even bother. Just know that you blew the call and let's move it along. You're not gonna make amends. Here's what I don't understand. If you're a crew chief, if you are the head umpire, if you're behind home plate, you get that a bang play at second base on a slide is easily missed by anybody. We're fallible. It happens lightning fast. There's no shame on a close call that your guy may have missed a crazy ass swim move in which somebody got their middle finger on the bag a millisecond before the tag. You can't be expected to get that right. I don't even blame them for getting it wrong. What I blame them for is the nonsense of not overturning it. What, your pride? Your pride. Sir, it was a bang play. We get it. It doesn't mean you're a bad guy, a terrible father, a piece of crap husband. It means you missed the call at second.
That's correct. I agree with you. I think that you throwing your hands up in the air and saying, just get rid of it, is them winning. And so therefore I double down and I will defy their defiance. And I say, this is where Major League Baseball gets it right. Here's where Major League Baseball gets it right. They take it out of the hands of the guys that are in the trenches.
That's right. They go back to headquarters.
There's even been replays where managers are shouting down crew chiefs after a review doesn't go their way, and you can hear it audibly. It says, blame New York. Don't blame me. Once you challenge, it's their call. It's no longer mine.
Which, by the way, is the greatest thing an umpire can do.
Yes.
Is look right at an enraged manager and go, what are you, a child? I didn't make this call.
Right.
And I would add to that sentence.
Of course.
But yes, I didn't make this call.
Remove them from the equation, because clearly what college umpires are telling you in some circumstances, not in all, is that they're not mature enough to handle being challenged.
Well, and
the TV screens, again, are 1972.
They're the TV I had in my first football dorm. Yeah.
Right. You have to switch from I Love Lucy to the replay and hope that you can see it.
And Chris, I'm obviously being a little bit of an overstatement. It's a bit of an overstatement on my part. I just think that the percentages are overwhelming that they don't want to change those calls. Like, the evidence has to be as bad as it could possibly be. So, yes, they have overturned calls. Yes, there are moments. In particular, the calls they tend to overturn are calls at first base.
Yep.
They'll overturn those calls. I don't know why they're more comfortable overturning those calls. Maybe they know that that's not something that they could pull the wool over the eyes of the fans on.
Right, versus neighborhood plays, tags, safe and out.
Right,
yes.
That kind of thing. I don't know why. But they struggle with the plays in which somebody is sliding into a bag, into home, second or third. They really struggle in those situations.
No, and this is where I would say this isn't a discussion about Florida State's getting hosed. This is a discussion about inefficiency of an operation.
Yeah, right. And this is, and listen, I didn't lose sleep over this. And I just thought, look, man, this is about the 20th time in the last 3 years that I've watched a replay show, oh man, I could see how you missed that. No, I would have missed that too. You're trying to get in position. It's bang, bang. And man, these guys are so people didn't do. By the way, when I was a kid, and this is a testament to the level of athleticism and skill and practice that takes place now from these athletes that steal bases on the regular. But back in the day, nobody was doing some flippity-flappity, roll around, spinnity-doo, and get back of my hand on the bag before you could touch my ass. None of that happened. Back in the day, it was very easy to tell if you were safe or out.
That was the after party.
I mean, now I watch guys pop up, flip, do a split, touch the right hand of the bag while somebody's just going like this, trying to touch the body. It's insane.
Yeah, they were inspired by Willie Mays Hayes in the Major League movies.
But it's incredible when it happens. You've literally watched, thanks to the advent of YouTube and Reels and all that, people flip over a catcher and land off. It's insane.
Yeah, they're essentially doing a smaller form of a Barry Sanders juke because they get their hands, they got the hand jive going on, and then the swim, and then the centerfold. Sometimes they'll come in this way.
Yeah, it's a 3-card money. They're like, which hand?
Whoop. Yeah. Actually, my ankle's touching the base. You got so lost in my upper body, my ankle's on the base.
Yeah, you're sitting there, glove planted on chest. My thigh has been resting comfortably at second this whole time.
I did the jaws of life.
It is. So I do forgive the umpires, but they don't want you to know that they get anything wrong. And they can't handle it. They could, damn well, and I'm going to end it here because it really it does bother me because it's going on 2-3 years now. You know that they run in. First of all, we got to do something about this, having to jog the hell over into the club and all that.
There's also a ratio of ignorance or defiance at an umpire to the size of the chest pad that they wear. If they decide to wear the chest pad, you're gonna have a long day. Oh God!
But if you run over there, I think they're annoyed by having to get off their ass and jog over there. But then they do, and then they go over there and they're like, well, he is definitely safe. Keith, you missed that one terribly. Let's sit here together for a few more seconds before I tell him that he's out. But you just said he was safe, Bob. Oh, he is. And you blew it, Keith. But we're not going to give them the satisfaction. So we're going to sit here and pretend like we're talking to somebody in some central command center that doesn't exist. And then we're going to go out there and tell them all that they're out, even though you and I can clearly see. Take a look at that, Keith. You missed it by a good 4 feet. But anyhow, we're going to tell them that you were right.
I've got a concept for a great ad that I think Eddie would love, which is specific to us. They go in the third base dugout and they get lost in there. They go for a while.
They're gone.
You have a clip, keep it inside of 7 seconds for fair use, and he's going to go into the tunnel and have a look. And the umpires emerge on the back deck of Gordo's on Pensacola Street. And they get themselves a smash and they get a Cuban and El Gordo.
Have him dipping in the Gordo sauce.
And
we got to get back out there.
We got to get back
out there.
And you cut it back to, this is taking a very long time, this review.
And when they come out, no matter what, they go,
that's right.
He's out.
And one of them's still holding a Gordo's cup. And he's like, whoops. It's like, Gordo's. Even the umpires need a break.
That's quality. That is quality. I like it. I also like a decision that Florida State is making, apparently, and that is involving personnel. I'll tell you about that here in a second. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away. Florida license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus, and my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites. A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Text Knowles to 850-386-8255. Text Knowles to 850-386-8255 for a chance to win 4 club-level tickets to FSU basketball tonight against Miami. That's right, the hated Canes, whose ass we stomped earlier this year down in Miami. Tonight, hoping to complete the sweep. They're used to watching us sweep them. Even when we're bad and they're good. They're not this year. Don't worry about it. but you could be there tonight to cheer on and complete the sweep, and you could be sitting in the club level for free if you text Knowles to 850-386-8255. And don't worry, you say, I don't have the time to swing by and pick up those tickets, Cameron. I'm a busy man about town. Well, don't worry. We'll send them to you digitally. It's crazy how the world works now. We can just forward them to you.
You also got extra time. It's a 9 p.m. tip. So
Good God, do you have time? 9 p.m. They got to ban the 9 p.m. tip. I mean, what are we doing? College kids, don't we care about their academics, Tom?
What?
I mean, who in the world is out here playing basketball till 11-something at night? I've got studying to do.
Well, we got to have a double header, sir.
Text Knowles to 850-386-8255 for your chance to win. We'll let you know who won the tickets at the end of the show in the final segment. I'll announce those winners or that winner. And I'll say congrats to you, ma'am, sir, whoever it is that wins. But in the interim, get to texting. Let's go. I want as many people to have a chance to win this contest as possible. Speaking of the game, not for long. But speaking of the game, Florida State does play Miami, and we're 15-10, 6-8 in the ACC. You might say, why are you previewing this game, Jeff? Because if Florida State wins tonight, it guarantees that they finish with a non-losing record. They could lose the rest of their games after tonight, and they would not have a losing record so long as they win tonight. If they do win tonight, it's important, A, because screw Miami eternally, and B, I'd like to see Hamilton leave in his final season with a winning record. So there's that. I know it's not much. It's all over but the shouting, but I would like to see the man leave with a non-losing record. And if he gets a win tonight, that'll happen. Now, if you go back over, and there's another reason to preview it because it's fun to bring up these numbers. If you go back over the last 9 seasons, Florida State has won 15 of the last 17 matchups. I mean, bend over. This is embarrassing. Humiliating. To be beaten at that rate, at that clip, would suggest that you're sort of a lower level basketball program. Meaning you're not FBS. You sound a little bit like a NAIA type squad that somebody might have a record of 15-2 against over 17 meetings. But alas, they're not. They're a program that takes pride in what they do. And, it's hard to do that when you lose 15 of 17 to your arch rival. But that's what they've done, Tom. They've lost 15 of 17 to Florida State. Their fans find it inexplicable. It is, I'm sure, an irritant as they forget about it through much of the year. They don't attend a lot of their team's sports, but let's say on a given night, they decide they care enough to go to a game.
At the Watsco Center.
And they pull up the program. Did you know we've lost 14 of 16 to Florida State? Jesus, man. And then the guy interrupts and says, oh, well, no, actually, next week they're on the road against Florida State. And I think they've lost 15 of 17 considering they lost earlier this year. Oh, well, that wasn't in this. I didn't know. I forgot about that. Yeah, they did. They lost earlier this. Double check it. Oh, yeah, we did. We lost 80-65 to Florida State at home. Got drubbed by 15 by that sorry team. By 15. We weren't even competitive yet again. That's the conversation they're having amongst Miami basketball fans. So just take that with you. At least you know that. We'll see if Florida State comes out and cares. They certainly didn't against Clemson over the weekend in what was a abomination. Ham called them out for the effort. Good. At one point late in the second half, I texted Ira. Good to see that Ewing showed up for this one. My man had 2 points with 3 minutes left to play in the game. Thanks. I mean, come on. What are we doing out here?
Yes, I was enjoying vacation, and I got a text from my brother-in-law, who never texts me really about anything. And he said, hey, brother, I'm sorry that and then went ... on the message on my phone. I caught this hours later. But, oh, no, did I miss like a monumental event?
No.
Is everybody okay? I'm sorry that I have to tell you that. That's what's going through my head.
Right.
What? I'm sorry that I have to vent here. But I really thought after the win against Wake Forest on the road that we would become, we'd gone past that for Leonard. But I have to say, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, hadn't gotten past
Then
it.
I saw the box score. And I went, ooh, I could see why there was a text.
Bryce was sitting behind the whole world got to see my son. He was sitting directly behind Florida State's bench. He could reach out and touch the players. And he went with a buddy of his, and he texted me 5 minutes into the game. And it was like, man, we're off to a poor start. Poor start. It's over. So we'll see. That was an atrocious effort. But I will say this, Miami, who's been in the midst of a terrible season, if you must know, they're 6-19, 2-12 in the ACC, getting after it. 2-12 in the ACC is a bad league, guys.
You could say that Jim left knowing what was coming.
Yeah. Jim left all right, left him high and dry, despite having NIL budget. And alas, it has not worked. One thing has worked lately is turning the calendar to February. They're 2-2, and Matthew Cleveland has begun to figure out that he was actually at one time a good basketball player. Down the stretch here, he's averaging 20 points a game, had 32 against Syracuse last week. Maybe he's figured it out again. I don't really have anything against him, given that he hit some game winners against Miami for us. But yeah.
He had 32 and he's averaging 20. That means he didn't have 4 great games.
Yeah.
A couple of good games.
So I will also say, if you're in attendance tonight, you may get to see the last win of the year for Florida State, because we're at Louisville. They'll pound us. We're home against North Carolina. Got a shot at that one. They stink. You're at Duke. Won't win that game. Oof, I hate to think about that one. And you're at Virginia. Now, Virginia struggles, but they can shoot the lights out from beyond the arc, and they especially shoot the lights out from beyond the arc at home. We don't cover anybody from beyond the arc, so that's going to be a loss. And then we end up playing SMU, who apparently owns the conference right about now. So that's where we sit. Got to get this one, Tommy. Got to get this one. Now, I know you're going to say, Jeff, have you forgotten about the magical run in Charlotte that is going to take place when the ACC tournament starts?
Really, none of this matters. None of this matters whatsoever, except for maybe the besmirching of a resume for an under 500 season like you're talking about that you want to avoid.
Yes, you do.
Beyond that, I think they're doing the right thing and not trying for long stretches so that they can be especially fresh for one magical week in Charlotte. Yeah, it's the right idea.
It'd be the coolest thing ever if that actually happened. It will not.
It might.
No. I didn't make it known because you were on vacation, but I should have texted you at some point to let you know that I had.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Oh.
I sprinkled pizza money on 5 outrights last week at the Genesis, and one of those was for Ludwig Abor.
Oh, yeah.
Me and director Matthew both.
I heard about that from him. Yeah.
Yeah. We both had him. And the celebration was on when my man birdied 4 of the last 6 holes to win it, including 18. And he did so effortlessly. And if you're driving about town, Ludwig, I know you're not playing in Mexico this week. So if you're here and you want to jump in the studio and have a conversation with, your favorite talk show host.
Right.
And former co-host of the man that houses your practice rounds daily in Trey Jones, then I'm here for you. I can do that. Tallahassee's own Ludwig Abor.
We'll bring the cappuccino for you. He's probably sleeping still today because he had to go play 2 TGL matches on Monday. Yeah. And he was great for both of them.
It always is.
That was a very nice thing to have on television on Monday. They're having a decent run now in terms of entertainment value.
I'm curious. We'll see. Those numbers aren't great.
No. But
it's niche.
There's a lot of stuff on ESPN that gets no numbers whatsoever. Remember when they tried to rebrand the 6 o'clock Sports Center about 4 different times?
Yes.
You might as well just throw TGL on instead. More enjoyable.
Shannon Young has made a move to be a part of the nation's largest mortgage company, and he's now with Cross Country Mortgage. And you might say, I'm not concerned which mortgage company he's with, but here's what you do need to know and why it does affect you if you're interested. Better rates, better options, stronger support, faster service. He's now in 7 states: Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. And while those things have changed, some things don't. And that is his expertise and hard-working demeanor. This guy is amazing. 20-plus years of experience, relentless goal-oriented attitude. He is a good man, dear friend, and hardcore Nole. Awesome at his job. Learn more, loansfornoles.com, loansfornoles.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a slight chance of rain. Daytime highs approaching 56, winds out of the north 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overcast skies again tonight, slight chance for rain. Lows dip down to about 40. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 52. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 53.
For 3 days only, February 21st through the 23rd, area boat and motor buyers will save thousands at Mike's Marine and Houseboat Show in beautiful Pensacola. This is the event you don't want to miss. Every Yamaha motor from 2.5 to massive 425 horsepower at special extra low pricing. Yamaha, new gear, new reliability. Check out the region's largest selection of the best boats, including Speeder, Sea Hunt, Robalo, Tidewater, and G3, inshore, offshore, river, or lake. Mike's Marine has a boat for you, and you will buy for less. Some boat packages discounted over $10,000. Save on all accessories, including electronics and trolley motors, too. They even drop prices on all pre-owned inventory. Lenders will be on site providing instant credit approvals and easy financing options. Door prizes too. And while you're there, drop in on one of Tennessee's phenomenal seafood restaurants. Hours of the show are Friday and Saturday from 8 to 6 and Sunday from 10 to 4. The Mike's Marine In-House Boat Show, February 21st through the 23rd. Don't miss it.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
There was Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Don't forget to text Knowles to 850-386-8255. That's 850-386-8255 for a chance to win 4 club-level tickets to FSU basketball for tonight's game at 9 p.m. You're running out of time. We got less than an hour and a half in the show to go. We will announce the winner at the end of the program, last segment, but I wanted as many people as possible to enter the contest while they still could for 4 free club-level tickets tonight, which just doesn't suck. If you plan on going to that game or want to go to that game and didn't have tickets or what have you, getting 4 club-level tickets wouldn't suck, and they're on us. So 850-386-8255. That's the number you're going to text Knowles, N-O-L-E-S, to. Good luck to you. Got the hiccups in the middle of a show. I don't know that I've ever had that happen.
Are there any almonds going on over there?
No almonds, no.
No cashews?
No, almonds and cashews are both good for you, but no.
No animal crackers?
No.
We got to bring those back in the rotation.
That's where I just cough for no reason incessantly. This is like the legit hiccups. I've been very fortunate, I will say, in the 27 plus years that I've been broadcasting, I've never had the hiccups on the air till right now, and I'm managing them. And then B, I've never had some sort of weird allergic reaction to something and had to, leave or something like that. I had to leave one time for a pet emergency. I've had to leave once before when I thought I was going to throw up in the studio.
That's happened a couple of times over the years.
Yeah, in 27
Didn't
years.
you actually use a trash can once and just hit the dump or the mute button?
Maybe. There have been very rarely. I don't throw. Well, listen, I knock on wood. I would. I don't throw up. I rarely throw up. I mean, even in the heyday of drinking, I did not throw up. I very rarely, very, very rarely. And typically, even if I get like the flu, I don't really throw up. I'm not a throw up guy. Some people are, some people aren't. I'm not. I'll lay there comatose and unable to move, but I won't throw up typically. But yeah, there have been a couple moments where I was like, something was eating at my stomach and I've been on the air before thinking I got to give it a go. It's nothing worse than talking in the midst of having a conversation about something that you're locked in and focusing on. Meanwhile, you're trying to quell the demons from within and that water starts to form. Oh buddy. That's when
that could be
we're in trouble.
That could be in multiple places, really.
That's
where that settles in.
That's when you're like, I'm in deep trouble.
I have to use the bathroom in a way that
I have to leave. I have to leave.
Can we run an extension cord into the stall? People wouldn't know back in their old days of radio.
Oh man!
Ignore the echo, folks. That's just they're doing a little bit of construction here in the studio. Don't worry about that.
Live spectator, even in the morning show days when I would get 2 hours. That's I remember getting no sleep many a night, playing darts at Halligan's. Tom Block and crew back in the day, they'd get done doing the sports on Sunshine Network, walk across the way, and we'd sit down and belly up, have a good time. Rest in peace, Buddy, who used to be the manager and the bartender there at Halligan's, died a number of years ago in a tragic truck accident on I-10 on his way home. But God, and time flies. There have been figures of this show over the years that I'm reminded of from time to time where you go, oh, man, it's the anniversary of, or this happened. That's when you know you've been on the air for a very long time, when it's like the anniversaries. I mean, obviously, my first boss, Lee Bowen, has been gone for a long time now, and I'm always reminded of it every summer when it's the anniversary of his passing. Usually I smile, not because of that, because he passed, of course not, but because he gave me my shot. And because he was a kind guy and a quirky guy and a fun guy to talk to. He was also a diehard Pirates fan. So whenever baseball season comes around, I think about him. And whenever Florida State baseball comes around, obviously, first and foremost, I think about him. And I thought about it over the weekend for opening day. I talked a little bit about that on Monday, that baseball, there's something to that, man, walking into that stadium. It is so different than basketball, so different than football. It is unique unto itself. This is a great fan base. The older I get, the more I'm reminded that we're very unique as a fan base when it comes to college baseball. There are a lot of great football fan bases, tons of them, some better than us, for sure. And there are much better college basketball fan bases than the one that resides in Tallahassee. But I think you're hard-pressed to find a better fan base for a sport than the one that resides here in Tallahassee for baseball. It's a passionate group. It's a knowledgeable group. Now, it's old in the grandstand, but they are loyal. And when this thing is even showing a hint of going the right direction, they show up in droves. And you were rightfully taking a vacation and having a good time, but I wanted it. I took that picture. I sent it to you, but I wish you could have felt that on Friday night. That place was packed to the gills, sold out. Students showed up. Bleachers were filled all the way. It was brimming with people. And I was walking in. I got my press pass. I was walking in, and I ran into an individual. He knows who he is. And I remember seeing him in the grandstand for baseball games 20-plus years ago. And he smiled and said, good to see you here again, Jeff. And I still listen to your show. And it was cool just to have that conversation. That's nice to hear. But it's a reminder of the fans that have been coming to these games for a long, long, long time. And it's a hungry group, and I think they have a sense that it's a matter of when, not if. And it's the hardest sport in the world to say that about. If you've got a more dominant football team, now it's gotten harder now that we've got a playoff system and you're going to have to run roughshod over several other really good teams and not slip up and not have a bad day at the office. But if in baseball, you can get really unlucky. Shortened series, truncated series, we know all that. I mean, we've seen teams, as we've noted, win the World Series that only won 83 regular season games, barely above 500. Get in, and because of the nature of baseball in a shortened series, something magical can happen. But it's also something that can be stripped from you when you have empirical data over 162 games or 55 plus games in college that you're the best team. It doesn't mean you're going to go win. And we know that too. And yet I sense that a lot of this fan base, myself included, feels like Florida State's going to win the national championship under Link Jarrett. And it may be coming soon. They almost won the whole damn thing last year. I mean, that if you really dive deep, they were this close. You could argue a check swing away from being the odds-on favorite to win the national championship last year. As it stood, they finished amongst the Final Four teams that were left still competing at the end of the season. And I don't know. It's happened quick. It's something about that vision. It's something about the way that he talks about it that you just think this is going to happen. And I don't know that I've ever really said that. I always wanted it to be the case for Mike Martin. And there were teams that we all know should have won it that were simply great. There were some mistakes made, but other times they just got unlucky. A bad mixture of, sort of happenstance. But this doesn't feel like that. This feels like I think they're gonna kick down the door. And I'll tell you something else. I think if they win one, they're gonna win another one pretty quickly thereafter. We've watched these kinds of things happen, and it's almost like the burden of history and what hasn't been, and the frustrations of all of those years that have piled onto the backs of the teams that have come after, and the fans that I'm referring to now, that weight that you sometimes feel when the postseason games begin, that, oh man, this hasn't always gone the way I wanted it to. But I feel like if you win, I didn't feel any of that last year. I didn't sense that there was nerves or any of that last year from Florida State baseball. There was we're really good, and we bludgeoned the baseball, and we're arrogant about it. And this team is brash in a way that maybe they don't deserve to be already.
I would agree with that. Much of the sport is. I think there's going to be a brawl at some point in the near future in this sport.
Serious repercussions for brawls in college baseball, though.
Yeah, but I think we're getting to that level. Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Where players are going to cross the line and other players just are going to say to hell with the consequences. Like you saw what happened in Athens. Kid, he takes off his glove and he's clapping at the dugout. You just drop the glove and this is going to a strange place.
Oh, the Georgia kid?
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not out of the realm of possibility where I go, oh, well, this college baseball just continues to one up itself every year. At some point, there's going to be a problem with that. But like you, if I'm returning to the major point here, I think that this is going to happen because Link he seems to have a plan and a roadmap that is crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not, even though it can't be, it's just he thinks of as many possible situations and permutations as he can and to be prepared for all of those. And he recruits to that end. It's not like he has these codas, like he wants to run counter and then he can't block counter. Like, if we're going to run counter, then I'm going to get people that we're going to run counter with. He wants to play defense with specialists at each position. He's got it. He wants to have depth from both sides. When you're talking about arm talent, he wants to have a variety of repertoires. He's got it. And then he wants to have power. Now, he's trying to teach discipline this year, but he's got that too. And last year, the only time I got nervous was when we were doing the watch along, when we had the lead late. I'm thinking, oh, just get this home. You win this one, and you're going to the best of 3. I know how good Tennessee could have beat us 2 in a row after that. I know that was possible. But you're setting yourself up to be in the best of 3 at the end. And if you won that game, at that point, I think if we're going to get to the best of 3, and sometimes those line up where you get the back half of a staff for you or the opponent. So you're telling me this comes down to who's going to score 10 more often? Yeah, we're going to score 10 more often. We're going to win this thing. That was the brief moment where I thought from underdog to, oh, God, just get this home.
It was close.
Get the 27th out.
Yeah, it was close. Well, it's so weird. If you had taken last year's offensive lineup and applied it to this year's team and combined it with this year's pitching staff, I mean, I would be emboldened in a way that's uncomfortable. If you gave me last year's offensive firepower, given what I've seen so far from these arms and the way that I think that they can parade any way you want to play it, from the left side, from the right side, they can parade a bunch of arms out there that get outs. I'm really buoyed by the pitching. Now, we're not even an ACC play yet, and it's a tough schedule, and it's a great league. It is a great league. That's one of the only times I can say that about the ACC. So it is a great league in baseball. Louisville's very good. Virginia's very good. There's a lot of good teams.
But you look at it now, not, these are roadblocks to get to the postseason. They're like, no, these are tools that help us sharpen our own weapons that we're about to wield.
Exactly. And it's why I said I'm not exactly enamored with the idea of playing Penn. Now, you can't play a juggernaut every week. You don't get to play a weekend series against the top 25 team every time you roll it out there. And I understand that, but I have decided to kind of, you look at the proceedings, you look at the schedule, and you say to yourself, well, what do I want to know? What can I learn about this team? What does this series equip me to understand, whatever that might be, right? And I don't know that Penn does that, but baseball is humbling, so I shouldn't probably think of it that way. Who knows? They might have an ace that has some stuff that you'll learn a lot from later in the year against a similar pitcher. There's always that opportunity to learn in baseball. But, I think the team and the program is in such a stable position that what I would like to see more often than not, even if it meant a far less gaudy record. In fact, I know that it would mean a far less gaudy record. I'd rather see a team that's, 35-20, 34-21 or 22 than 40 whatever, and with far fewer losses, if it meant that we were tested to the hilt with every kind of team that you could face. One that, picked it magically and was the best defensive team you're going to see all year, to one that ran you out of the building with lightning speed and a high on-base percentage, to one that hit for the downs, to one that dominated on the mound. I want those kinds of tests more regularly.
Yeah, I think some of those are going to be coming midweek because you're going to be playing teams that are looking for RPI boosters.
Sure.
And because your next 4-weekend series or 5-weekend series, you got Penn, Georgetown, Lipscomb, Boston College, and Miami, who I'm hearing mixed reports on what they are.
Yeah. Well,
so in the next 5 weeks, what do you think about tests? 2? If you're talking about lineup for lineup or rotation for rotation, maybe 2. But you do have so many young players that you're trying to groom in the lineup, that you're trying to instill good habits for. Doesn't matter who you're playing if you're trying to build good habits. It's a pitch. It's a 2-1 pitch. It's a 3-1 pitch. We ain't swinging at that, man. That's not in your hot. I don't care that you hit a double down the line.
Right.
We don't want that. Because when you face Louisville or you face Virginia or you face Wake, that's your ass. You just lost the at bat. Now it's 3-2 and you're going to strike out. Like those moments, I think you can put those together, and then also confidence builders and moments for the back arms. Your mid relief arms, your long guy, your setup men, your closer, the hierarchy of all those things. I know they don't necessarily believe in a closer per se, but those battles matter. Back-to-back days, if you're a relief pitcher, that matters. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can work on over the next handful of weekends.
I don't disagree at all. And the beauty about a baseball season is no matter how much I want to see them tested, no matter how much I want them to, to be, challenged, there is that opportunity. You think about a young player who's a freshman, Penn's pitchers are going to be better than the vast majority of the arms you just saw in high school. These are college pitchers, so they're just almost by definition going to be better than anything you saw on a weekly basis when you were in high school. So he's learning there. Well, a lot of younger guys are learning there, and they're getting more comfortable with every at-bat. They're getting more comfortable with tough situations, situations which people are counting on you. So, yeah, man, I think there is plenty to learn. And I also think it's enjoyable when you get to know new players. Last night we're watching a game and you and I and most of this fan base had not seen that young man pitch. Pitched 2 years over in Jacksonville. I had mentioned about what he was and how his freshman year, he was a dominant pitcher, but his sophomore year, he was an absolute mess. But Evan Kress last night looked really, really good. And, you got to see his stuff and you realize, all right, we're learning about Vellini, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing Vellini this weekend because I didn't get to watch him pitch for pitch this first go around. Crest was impressive in that he's a 4 to me.
But that's what he is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, for a midweek starter guy, all right, I like him. I also like the fact that because he has so many pitches and he moves it around so often, I could see where in a weekend series that you got to have like a super regional,
right?
You bring him in as first guy up on a Friday to pair with a lefty. That's a nice thing that's a nice dynamic to have. And then you bring one of your fireballers out there to finish the game, or an Abraham. To me, the stuff isn't overwhelming, but it's always moving. That scout is very true. It's just something's always moving. You can never square it up. It looks like.
I will say this: I do like Peyton Prescott.
There's the fireballer.
Yeah, I'm in on Peyton Prescott. That's gonna play throughout the year, and missing bats at 96 up in the zone will work.
That's where you run a 3-1 count, you fight it back to 3-2, and then the bat's over. That's the thing that I'm talking about. Poor habits at the plate.
Yeah.
That's the guy that I'm thinking of on the opponent's side. It's like, well, that was 3-2. You're just gonna throw a fastball by you. You're screwed.
You're screwed, and he did. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Your friendly neighborhood bar and grill just got a whole lot closer to home. You can now order delicious Smitty's Tap House and Grill for delivery directly to your doorstep. Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com, click the Order Online button, and choose pickup or delivery. Enjoy Smitty's famous handmade pretzel with beer cheese, juicy pub burger, or even the amazing schnitzel sandwich, delivered fresh right to your doorstep. Support local and order online today for takeout or delivery at Smitty'sTapHouse.com, where everybody knows his name.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway, because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee.
This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Florida State hosting Miami at the Tucker Center in Tallahassee today. The Seminoles, a 9.5-point favorite as Miami looks for its first road win in 8 tries. 152.5 the total. Oklahoma State, a 1.5 home favorite with the UCF. South Florida, a 1.5 dog at UT San Antonio. Last night, second-ranked Florida by 22 over Oklahoma. 85-63 at the O'Connell Center. Gators cover as 14.5-point home favorites. NASCAR, Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Better Health 400 this week. Ryan Blaney, the 8-1 favorite. Joey Logano, 9-1. Kyle Busch and Austin Cedric, both 11-1. $250 bonus, and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
If winter means spending more time indoors, wouldn't it be great if you could upgrade your space? Well, Macy's is here for you because our President's Day sale is going on right now with big savings on what you need to give your home a refresh. Think 20 to 40% off new furniture, like our exclusive Radley sofa, now $21.99. And take 30 to 60% off a new mattress from Hotel Collection, Serta, and more so you can sleep better. Come into Macy's today and back to a house that feels more like home. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful. Hi, this is Matayo, and this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick, because the spice comes in at just the right moment. Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites. A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus, and my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919. 8919.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
few more to come tonight. These early season wins are good for you if you're a gambling type of guy where you hit on a big one early, then it frees you up to be aggressive the rest of the way, and it really elevates your level of week-to-week gambling fun on the PGA Tour. That's just an aside. Just thought you should know. And I look forward to it. But I also look forward to another weekend series for baseball. I look forward to spring training baseball starting, to having that on in the background. Just the sights and sounds of baseball. That'll be here. We'll have probables before you know it. It's a glorious thing. And then kind of that bridges the gap there until eventually you get into spring football. Speaking of spring football, it does appear that Florida State, at least the whispers are, that Danzy's going to get moved to wide receiver, which makes a lot of sense.
Really? Okay. Well, he had said that he wanted to be a Toafili type, that he could catch passes.
He can.
And if you think about that running back room, it's awfully crowded. But now you have Squirrel White and Jalen Lucas, if he's healthy, as a slash guy, and Danzy. That's an awful lot of speed.
Well, I think you're trying to hone in on big plays. You're going to establish the run the ball incessantly, and then pot up over the top. And you need guys to be explosive. He certainly fits that mold. I mean, my goodness gracious, this doesn't really come as a surprise if it's true, because they did this when he was here last year. We saw it in practice all the time. They would hit him early in practice on a bunch of deep balls, and he caught the ball. I mean, he could catch the football. He'd go get it. Sometimes if you're a running back, you might be the athlete that can catch a ball in space. You might be a guy that you certainly would look at and upon first glance say, oh, that guy could do a lot of different things with the football. But it's a whole different deal to run a straight 9 and be in a dead sprint, and somebody leads you at a ball that you got to put some boogie into and go get and maintain your head and your eye level without it bouncing on you. That's a skill in and of itself. A lot of guys can't necessarily do that and make that translate.
This will be interesting just because, Gus's offense is multiple enough in formations and movements before the snap that Danzy might still very well line up at running back plenty of the time this season. But that you're going to place him there does give you a bit more of a window into what they're trying to do, which is run, shot over the top. And then also, if you've got somebody with his speed, just let him put that on film in a straight line beyond the stuff that he put on track. And beyond the stuff that you saw last year in wheel route situations where it is breathtaking. On the all-22, it stands out how fast he is. And that's tough to do because that stuff is really zoomed out.
Yeah.
And if you go, my God, that guy can fly and he looks the size of an ant, that tells you something. But let that kid put that on film from a traditional receiver position, and the middle of the field's going to open for you because that safety has to think about it now. So cool. I like that. That sounds like a good move.
If you missed it yesterday in the bonus hour, I talked about this. I talked about it some on Monday. I'm going to talk about it again here right now, because it just bothers me to no end. And yet another article today about it. Where have you all been? I'm not talking about you, my listeners. I'm talking about these national writers who are now all chiming in on this very real concern that the SEC and the Big Ten are going to stack the deck year in and year out and guarantee that 8 of the 14 or 8 of the 16 are from their conference, no matter it be a good or bad year for said leagues. And now all of a sudden, people have this real concern that college football seems to be going in the wrong direction, that grifters have run amok, and that the deck is tilted in favor of those two conferences. That really excludes, in some ways, absolutely alienates fan bases all over the country. And the programs, many of which rich with tradition, that no longer matter and have been told in no uncertain terms that they are, in fact, second-class citizens in college football. And they've written eloquently this week about, this seems unnecessary. Why is this happening? What's going on? Drives me nuts. It was there in plain sight. It was talked about at the time. The evidence was overwhelming. We all understood what was happening. the strong arming of college football, the having taken control of all of college football is what Fox and ESPN / Big Ten, SEC had done. And, earlier in reference to the Dellinger piece, and I give him credit, it was just a straightforward report, not an opinion. He noted and reminded everybody that last spring is when it all went down, that it was a heated time and negotiations weren't going well and leaders of the Big Ten and the SEC were angry and they threatened to take their ball and go home if everybody didn't get in line. And in the end, executives of the 10 FBS leagues and Notre Dame signed away their future. They acquiesced to bullies, and now they're all scared that bully, or bullies in this case, are going to exercise their authority, exercise their power that you gave them, which was a signed memorandum of understanding. That's what it was called, a memorandum of understanding, that it's yours. You take control starting this next year, not now. Let's just put that all on hold, guys. We've got a good thing going here. We've agreed to the first 12-team playoff, and everybody seems to be all right with all that. You know what? It's yours next year. You guys can vote on this stuff next year. Let's just kick the can down the road. And the can has been kicked. And now you're hearing, and there's no way anybody's surprised that the powers of the SEC and Greg Sankey are going to operate in what is their best interest and stack the deck in favor of the SEC. The irony of ironies being that this on the heels of a year in which they could only get 3 teams in because they weren't good enough to get 4.
It's a bad year for the league relative to what they've been doing the last 10.
And yet you want to make sure that there's a pathway, an automatic pathway for 4. So they're going to finalize a scheduling agreement. They're going to do all the things that will fetch millions, and they're going to do this in which they alienate everybody else. It's bad for college football. It's 100% terrible for the sport. And we may end up looking back on this many moons from now and suggest that college football matters very little in the eyes of a large swath of people that was once very passionate about the sport.
I think we'll come out the other side of this thing. It's just that it's interminable as we go through this metamorphosis. But we're going to get to a place where the Big and the SEC might be the banners that everybody flies under that's playing big boy football. But it's the reclassification to the Super 2, not the Power 2, where you're at 48, 60, something along those lines. But it's going to take another 5 years at minimum.
And you're going to be stuck in this sorry-ass conference that never gets the benefit of the doubt and sees you at a massive financial disadvantage.
Yeah, you got 2 seats at the table. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you got 2 seats at the table, but moreover, you've got massive deficiencies to overcome, not just financially, but perceptionally. You are now going to walk into a high school recruit's living room and suggest to him that you can come play championship level football in a league that is considered well below the 2 leagues that produce the most opportunity to play championship level football, national championship level football. Your path to playing in those games is exponentially greater in those leagues than it is here. And this is the decision you now have to make. Do I choose that SEC school or that ACC school? Ultimately, I want to play for a championship. I want the best of the best. I want the best facilities, the best coaches, and this is the league that can afford it, and this is the league that simply cannot. It's just so aggravating. What's more aggravating than all of this is, and we knew it was going in this direction, is, again, this intellectually dishonest conversation that so many of these writers that cover college football are now having. Now they're having it. Now they see the problem with all this. Now they know that this is bad for college football. Now they seem to have a handle on, oh, well, this is not good. I mean, gosh, if you're not in one of those 2 leagues, you're kind of screwed. You don't say. And yet you chastised, ripped, impugned the integrity of all the schools who made nary a peep about the need to get out from under whatever disadvantaged situation they were in. You thought that they were the ones that should be castigated into the realm of shame. They were the ones that should have been told that they're what's wrong with college football. Meanwhile, the wolf is eating I almost did it. The entire pack. Well, let's not blame the wolf. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I feel like every one of them owe us an apology.
You won't get it.
No, of course not.
Yeah, this has been my problem with the television side of things because that has been the heart that's pumping the blood everywhere, right? And they're the ones that are the epicenter of the discussion. And so they know their importance in this grand conversation, and they're not talking about it.
No, they don't bring it up.
No, not in the way that's honest. They, for the most part, they avoid it. But when they don't is when we pounce and we say, no, you can't do that. You can't open yourself up to this discussion because you're coming from a place that is so compromised, and your own integrity has been because of the things you've said relative to conference strength. Sight unseen, Florida State won't get in over conference champion Alabama and Texas. No way. Sight unseen. What, you didn't see the last 4 games? What if one of their quarterbacks went down and got hurt? No, that's just not going to happen. Guys, I'm just telling you, that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That type of wisdom or foresight, and I'm putting air quotes out there for the people listening on audio, is the stuff that pissed us off because you know what it's laying the groundwork for.
Yes, you do.
You're fixing ground zero for the conversation that comes next, and you're moving it towards the 2 super conferences. Now, we're trying like crazy to get into them, and we should be.
Yes.
But what you're dealing
I
with
still
now,
think it's completely unfair and a screw job for everybody else. But yeah, in the interim, you got to protect your property.
Yeah, this transitional phase is going to take too long. We're going to get out. We will get out on the other side of this, and people are going to enjoy college football in a more innocent fashion, or at least less triggered at all times fashion. But you're going to lose some people along the way, and it didn't have to be this way. The power brokers, that you didn't have to go through this process to reorganize. It could have been done a lot cleaner, but this is the reality that we're facing. At least old Jim got us 2 seats at the table and not 1 seat at the table.
Well, speaking of Jim, this past week he said there needs to be fairness. You don't get it. There needs to be fairness. Jim, he's useless. He's useless.
They tied him to a chair. They're lowering him into the ocean, and you still hear as he's going down, the bubbles bursting.
This isn't fair.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, you're drowning.
He went on to say it needs to be a true championship and not an invitational.
He used the word invitational?
Yes, he did. Perhaps he listens to the Jeff Cameron show.
And perhaps maybe he doesn't understand what live is, and he's just watching the ones from December of 2 years ago now.
I mean,
it's like, this is good material. This is good stuff.
Yeah. Well,
oh dear, this is from this is December 2023.
Well, I'm sure that any number of shows got back to him to some degree about the situation that the ACC and in particular Florida State found themselves in. But now we're going to bring that to the table.
That's pretty good rhetoric. I should have used that. That would have been probably more helpful.
And
I'll get
again,
him next time. It's fair.
I also laughed at the idea that ESPN had this concern about what they see taking place. The ESPN is said, now, of course, they're going to have an opinion on this since they're paying $1.3 billion annually to the college football playoff for the rights to broadcast the playoff from 26 through 31. They have not publicly commented, but apparently, according to sources, Dellinger's report and others, that some of the leaders at ESPN have some apprehension about the direction they see the Big Ten and the SEC taking the sport. As power brokers, they're concerned they're going to alienate large parts of the country. You don't say.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that so? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have a conscience at times because, as you recall, when they launched the SEC network, do you remember what they said about Feinbaum?
No.
ESPN PR, ESPN media representatives definitively stated that Paul Feinbaum is going to be an SEC network only property.
Right, yeah.
They are not going to bring him on to ESPN linear platforms.
Right.
So what they're telling you when they make that deal and the SEC network rises is that they understand that it's gas, fart gas that comes out of his mouth and nothing more.
Yeah, it's propaganda,
and so
sure.
our news wing is not going to be touched by the methane that comes out of his nose and mouth when he speaks. We're not that crazy. Now, for the SEC network, it's a perfect fit because it's content that every SEC fan can get behind.
Right.
And within what happens? A year, 18 months? It's Paul Feinbaum's Sunday segment on SportsCenter. Let's hear what he thinks of the top 25. And now he's one of their faces.
Right.
You're an unserious network. When Paul Feinbaum and Heather Dinich are guiding your discussion on the future of the sport, you're as unserious as it gets. And they knew better, and they went on record speaking about how they knew better before they launched into whatever the hell this is.
I just can't understand how. Well, I do understand it. I know it's hypocritical. I'm waiting on so many of these guys who are now up in arms. They're making it their talking point this week. They're writing about it if they're columnists. These are the same people with great vitriol that came after Florida State for being, quote, bad actors in the ACC, for being terrible partners. How could a league ever want a program like that when they behave the way that they do in the league that they're in? Who could trust them? Who could ever trust Florida State if you were the Big Ten or the SEC? How could you take them in when they've been such a bad actor in their own league? They're not trustworthy. Not trustworthy. Greg Sankey kneecapped an entire conference before your very eyes, and you said nothing. He went and took the only two properties that mattered in the entire league. With intent to do what? Better the sport? No. So Oklahoma and Texas leave, and then you subsequently, and by the way, the Big Ten repeatedly lied about their intentions, and then at the right moment pulled the trigger and put the Pac-12 out of their misery by grabbing USC and UCLA and subsequently Oregon and Washington.
But we're not going to go that far with Oregon and Washington. It just, that's a bridge too far.
But it's FSU that's the problem. FSU is this malcontent squeaky wheel of the ACC, and how could anybody trust them?
What's going to happen is the networks will grow a pair when they're up for renewal.
And 31.
Yes, so they're going to grow a pair at that point and then swing the stick to reorganize the sport. But right now, the networks are actually happy with where this is at.
Well, sure.
Because they own the two properties, and you could call it three with the playoff. So you've got big conference, and playoff. That's what you want as the three major entities. But when they're up for renewal and they're talking to Amazon or Apple TV as a legitimate partner to at least get a tier 2 or a tier 3 right, in addition to CBS throwing its hat back in the ring and NBC feeling like maybe they want a bigger piece of the pie.
Yes.
That is when the networks are going to start to cry victim and say, we need to reorganize.
Well, that's because the people making the decisions right now won't be there. They don't care. They'll have made their millions. They'll be on an island somewhere laughing and having engineered huge ratings and numbers for themselves.
Right.
Got their bonus and left.
Right. And well, yes. And even if it's the same people that are holdovers, they're not under threat right now. The only way they don't get renewed is if they don't get the renewal on the deal.
Well,
they're not under pressure for 6 more years or 5 more years.
Well, the other part of this, if you see now, they figured it out. I mean, the conference championship games have always been money grabs to begin with, but now you see what they're doing. They're having the top 2 teams in the league not play in the conference championship. And then instead have the 3rd and 4th place teams play for that, and the winner has an automatic bid in.
Correct. Now, this is something that we talked about last November when the integrity of the conference championship games was being called into question.
You knew they were going to have to fix it because of the money at stake.
They're going to have to change the name. This is what we said. I said you're going to have to change the name to the play-in game, to the bonus game, to the something game.
Right.
But there has to be something on the line. And so you're going to have to give buys to these other teams. Now, for the ACC, what you would do is your top overall, because it's a 2-bid league.
Yeah, so your top overall team would not play in the game.
Right.
2 and 3 would for the automatic invite.
That's correct. And then 3 hopes for an at-large, which they'll never get.
Which they won't get because that'll go to a 5-loss SEC team.
And what you can do with the SEC this year would be Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. Who was their third?
South Carolina, Tennessee.
Tennessee's probably number 3. So those 3 are safe and South Carolina would play like Ole Miss in their Atlanta game.
Well, I mean, Tennessee and South Carolina, yeah, that would have been weird. They're going to have tiebreakers because there were a bunch of teams with the same record.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is 3 would be safe. You'd play 4 versus 5, and everybody would know the 5th team gets in anyway.
But there's just no reason. It's just a money grab. There's no reason to watch that. Nobody.
Well, yeah, it's America's conference.
So what would it have been in the Big Ten? Because they'll do the same thing.
So Oregon's free and clear. Ohio State's free and clear.
It would have been Illinois and Indiana. Get the hell up out of here with that nonsense.
It could have been.
That's what it would have been.
Yeah, Penn State would have been clean. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Bielema versus Sigs.
Good Lord. Steak scotch in a game that doesn't matter being pumped up as if it's a huge, huge deal.
It would be in the ACC, though. Oh, dear.
Oh, the networks will love it, and they'll frame it in such a way that people are easily fooled.
You know, Joe, I'm so happy you're back calling our game. And this is what we offer at the ACC, the highest stakes of games. This game matters. Like, really matters, because that loser's not going to get in, Joe. And I know you're going to talk about that for 3 hours.
3.5 hours.
They're not getting
over
in.
and over again.
So we know, Joe, there's danger.
Just as you also know, Joe, that with the 5th place team in the SEC is in danger of not getting in, you'll say, as 21-point favorites at home while trailing by 17 in the 4th, no matter what happens at the end of this game, they are in.
What I don't understand is how a team that was predicted by Las Vegas to win above or under 9.5 games is being discussed as not a playoff caliber team. Talk to me, Jesse. I don't want any part of this, Joe.
Yeah,
I never did.
Jesse's always been, I got to give Jesse all the credit in the world. He's like, this is not what we do. This is not,
I don't wear knee pads, Joe.
Yeah, well, that night was particularly despicable. Text Knowles to 850-386-8255. We're close now to giving away these tickets for tonight's game against Miami. Basketball, that is right. 4 club-level tickets for you. But you got to text right now. Text the word Knowles, N-O-L-E-S, to 850-386-8255. Knowles to 850-386-8255. Before the end of the show, we'll announce the winner.
Injured? Call attorneys who care. Basic Brooks, offices, Tallahassee.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
Construction services. T-Bar Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises. Roofing and construction services. T-Spark. T-Spark Construction.com.
CCC 1331204.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket. Take a sip and have a trip with Tallulah's famous THC slushies. Lots of fun flavors to choose from, refreshingly delicious, and the perfect way to relax. Stop by Tallulah's and try the all-new sugar-free Jolly Rancher slushie today and find out why everyone is going mad for honey. A rare, intriguing, deep red honey harvested from the mountains of Nepal. Mad Honey is the latest trend, creating quite the buzz. Literally. Try Mad Honey today, only available at a Tallulah store near you.
Hi, this is Rudy Ferguson, pastor of Newburgh Tabernacle of Praise. Be encouraged, stand still, and watch God move with your morning word with Pastor Ferg. It's something God wants to share with you. Tune in every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. with the morning word with Pastor Ferg. I believe it's going to bless you and keep you for the week to come. Right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Well, it's so great being back in the Oval Office looking out over the White House lawn. Speaking of lawns, I got to tell you about the Lawn Johns. They're the best. Anything from basic lawn care like mowing, edging, weed eating, and they can do even a full landscape design. Believe me, it's incredible. In fact, Elon and I have big plans, and we're going to grow grass on the moon, and guess who's going to be doing the lawn up there? Yeah, you got it, the Lawn Johns. Call them right now, or for a free estimate, you can visit them online at thelawnjohns.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go
Big time.
on a fancy water bottle.
With ultra titanium alloy metal.
You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water.
But you're getting it anyway.
Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save
Big time.
for water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
As I said 100 times today, text Knowles to 850-386-8255 for your chance to win. At the end of this segment, that's it. That's all. That's it. That's all the over but the shouting or whatever. Texting Knowles, N-O-L-E-S, to 850-386-8255 for a chance to win 4 club-level tickets to FSU basketball tonight. Game is tonight at 9 o'clock. It's rainy. It's overcast. I don't know. Seems like a good night to go if you're a night owl.
No maintain. You do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. If you're not driving home, you get loose. You get after that. Have some fun with that. Maybe you'll cheer us on to victory. Yet another win over Miami, which would make 16 of the last 18 or 17 of the last 19, whatever the hell it would be. It's a glorious thing is what it is. I'd love to see that. Kyle, yeah, I see you in there. There are plenty of people who recognize where we're at with this situation, but I mean, like so many other things right now, you just kind of like, well, what is going, what the hell? Doesn't everybody recognize this is insane? I will maintain that college football, you're probably right, Tom. We're going to come out the other side at some point here. I'm telling you, this ratings drive that we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years where it's just continued to go up, that is done. That is done. It is not going to continue in that direction. It is not.
I think part of it is just studying how ratings are compiled. They've changed the way they count in the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, yes, so they can lie about the figures, but I think we know that now, though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it still leads to higher number counts. You know, so every league is going to be able to claim ratings growth for a period of time. But at some point you can't do that anymore.
No. And really, you probably could have only done it in these last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we've really been able to. It's like when you first were able to stream your show, stream this show, stream any show on radio. For a long time, that's great. You're reaching more people. More people have access to your show. That's good. We all got it. How do I monetize that if I can't tell you exactly how many downloads there are or the time spent listening? And then we figured that out. All right, well, there was this many impressions, and this is the average time spent listening, and we got that. All right, well, how do I mine deeper and find out the demographics of those that downloaded? Began to figure out a way to do that, too. And all of a sudden, we knew exactly who was listening where and for how long. And you had access and an opportunity to sell regionally or locally based on those numbers. That's what we've done now. We've got it. We get all the places that people can watch, the devices and such.
Some companies lie through their teeth, though. X lies through its teeth. Just because it's on your home screen in pink at the top of the list doesn't mean that somebody's listening to your stuff.
Correct.
And they count that. And Facebook, I think the threshold is 1.5 seconds or 2. If your screen just stays on what we're doing for 1.5 seconds or 2, it counts as a view. What? YouTube, on the other hand, is much more empirical. And down. What I think that's going on with television right now is you got a little bit of Facebook going on. Yeah, you sure that person was watching the sport?
Yeah.
Are we sure that every single sport in this country is getting watched at a higher clip? Are people not watching anything else?
Well, I do think it is the last bastion of a collective agreed upon thing to watch. Like, gone are the days where we all watch Seinfeld. This is not what's happening.
Sure.
Sports has taken the place of all of those shows.
It has. I'm just saying that usually when some sports go up, others go down. Like, all of these sports are saying most viewed since 2019, most viewed since 2022.
Right.
Like, really? Everything just continues to break records for viewership because I don't know, man. I don't think that's the case at all. And the threat to the SEC, we all know this, especially if we can get free and clear from where we are. The Big Ten is a humongous threat. They just scored a blow, wasn't a mortal blow, but a serious one this year by winning the national title, having as many teams as they did in the Final Four, and now owning all of the time zones. Sure, they would love to dip into the Southeast for the sponsorships, but they're in every time zone now with high-level football. Oregon's good, man, and they're going to command that 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock window as many times as you want them to. It's interesting. The SEC is in a bit of a pickle here if you're looking at it over the next 10 or 15 years. Big Ten's a better product to offer to sponsors.
Well, and Tom, lest we forget, they've won back-to-back championships out of the Big Ten. Michigan won it the year before.
That's true. I really have a hard time counting that one, but I'm sure they will.
And they should. And, so that's back-to-back seasons in which
they're not even playing.
That is correct.
They're not even playing for it.
Not even playing for it. And struggled to get 3 in.
I wonder how good we'd be with equal resources. Maybe we can be the SEC savior.
You're not going to find out anytime soon.
No, certainly
Unfortunately.
not. We're bad actors, and we should be punished. We should be punished and relegated. I understand. I accept.
Well, the conferences can't trust us.
They are integrity-laden.
The level of stupid that you have to be to believe that somebody would buy that. That's the that's the nonsense that your aforementioned Feinbaum and others say. Well, they're in an unpopular program right now. Who could trust that team? Look what they've done in their own league. You just don't do that to your league partner. You don't do that to your league partner. Got it.
Yeah, that's where there are plenty of times where I read an article that is reasonable, and it could be a column, it could be an actual news article, and you just see retorts to the article. This is why they hate you. Hey. That was just quoted, man. That's just a news article. It happens with Dellinger a lot. But then there are articles like the one McMurphy wrote recently and what we're referring to here about relative conferences and ACC and Florida State bad actor and is not wanted, is not valuable. And you say, this is why they hate you guys. This is why they hate you. Because
that was fed to you
and you're
as a talking point.
And you're writing it as though it's a fact and understood.
That's the thing that you got to be careful with. That's where I do appreciate Dellinger and others who say, look, according to, you attribute it. ACC officials, SEC officials, Big Ten officials, let us know. I get you can't always name sources. I got that. But at least let us know which slant it was coming from and why. But Feinbaum doesn't do that. But back to something different right now, and that is that I'm really concerned ultimately that this is going to be a pinnacle of frustration for us. I'm already feeling the mounting aggravation just from the vantage point of where we sit, meaning FSU, and our ability to talk about this on a week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year basis while all of this stuff, all the pieces are moving around us. But meanwhile, the one thing I could fall back on lately, and I know this doesn't help everybody, but it does some, that baseball, yes, FSU baseball, but also professional baseball is continuing to grow and find its legs again and do extremely well. It has some things it has to tweak. It's efforting to do that. Manfred was mentioning this week that they've had back-to-back seasons in which they've continued to grow, reaching a total of, if you're looking at the gains have been substantial. And the product is seen by many as a much better sport these days because they've sped it up and they've bothered to basically enforce rules that were previously on the books. But they're doing all those things. And yet, if you look on the horizon here, they've got problems that is going to lead to a strike. It is going to lead to a lockout in 2025 and 2026, I should say. They've got great expectations coming up for this year and next. But it looks like at the end of next year, they have got an impasse brewing regarding the basically the four halves in baseball anymore and the rest of the league. And it's not really even, I mean, the Dodgers aren't doing anything wrong. They're doing what they're able to do. And as they've pointed out, Manfred has pointed out, hey, they can spend as much as they want. They have to give this much back in the luxury tax and all that other stuff. It is not against the rules. They're able to do that. But, of course, as I've said before many times, baseball is a trust. And the Dodgers can't play the Dodgers, and the Yankees can't play the Yankees, and the Mets can't play the Mets. It's going to have to be that we have some sort of competitive balance to where you force the small market teams or you vet these owners that come in and take over a small market team, quote unquote, and you demand of them that the base is a certain number. Like you can never cap the top because they're not going to agree to these salary caps. You can do what you're doing, which is tax the bejesus out of them and spread it. And I get 1/30th of your excess spending. That's great. You know, that helps me. But they're going to have to demand that if you own a Major League Baseball team, you can't do what the Marlins do. You can't do what the Rays do. You can't do what my Pirates do with Bob Nutting. You can't do what a lot of these teams do, which is any given year spend $50 million on your payroll. And another team in the same sport, in the same league that you compete against is spending $385 million. That's not going to work. They're going to have to figure that out.
One thing that they'll never go for that they should just do is have a valuation conducted for every franchise every year, and you have to spend to a certain percentage of the valuation of the franchise. There you go. Whatever that percentage might be. But it's a way for the public to understand the magnitude of the asset that these owners are holding.
Yes.
And they might not have the liquid cash on hand that they're crying about, but they'd certainly be approved for any loan on this planet because if they decided to sell today, the Pirates would be worth
whatever.
What do you think?
Yeah.
1.6 billion? I don't know.
I'm not sure. A lot less than the Mets and the Yankees, but they'd still be worth a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And these franchises across all sports, anytime there's a sale that goes on now, everybody's looking.
Oh, sure.
Oh my God, that franchise is worth how many billion?
Yeah. The weird part is, I mean, we understand that there are in baseball where you have this situation, you have, I don't know how they remedy this completely. You know, I would argue, Tom, that you have a much greater interest in sort of the study of business, if you will, than I do, or maybe even economics. Let's put it that way. But I know the difference between variable costs and fixed costs, and I know the relative value for a seat behind home plate or a sponsor of a stadium costs far more in New York City than it does in Miami or it does in Pittsburgh or it does in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So these are all things that you're factoring in as to what an owner can or cannot spend based on, okay, so the sponsor at Citi Field is going to pay $25 million this year for their signs. That same sponsor would spend $4 million to do it in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So there is we aren't doing apples to apples, and
No.
so this gets it's a convoluted mess. It's not as simple as, hey, this is the payroll, and therefore this owner could afford to do this, and that. No, because it's different for every city and every franchise based on where you are.
Absolutely. That's why salary caps aren't fair. Now, I like them because in two of the sports I follow, my teams are in the state of Florida. So therefore, you're not subject to state and city tax.
Right.
But if I have to pay $100 for something in New York and $100 for something in Florida, my dollar's going to go farther in Florida than it is in New York.
Right.
I am paid $100 for that service. You know, that's where you do have to, and you have to look at that both ways. So on the spending on the player side, you have to look at that, but then on the expenses for the group, what it takes to put on. I mean, shoot, if you wanted to add something to your stadium and you're in Citi Field in Queens or you're in the Bronx, the permitting that you have to get, the unions you got to go through. I mean, like all the things. It's Rodney Dangerfield. Then you got to grease the Teamsters because then the Teamsters will give you this and that. The cost of adding a section in the outfield in New York,
sure.
I'm sure, compared to doing so at whatever the hell they're going to build in St. Pete, very, very different things.
Very,
that you
very
gotta
different
walk
things.
through.
Yeah. Well, and then you never know, like, and the deals are different too for everybody. So, for example, some people rent their parking. They don't own that
They
lot.
don't own their television network.
Or they don't own their stadium. Or they don't own their, yes, all of that is true. All right, we got to take a quick break and we'll come back and announce the winner. Here's the deal. Text Knowles to 850-386-8255. Text Knowles to 850-386-8255 for a chance to win. Last chance right here, right now. 4 club-level tickets for FSU basketball tonight against Miami. That's it.
You missed out. It's your fault.
Yeah, we gave you a million opportunities. I want to make sure I was fair about this today. Sometimes I overlook these things, not this time. Text now. In the next 5 minutes, we're picking a winner. Knowles to 850-386-8255.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Rain chances back, followed by colder temperatures to end the week, and then a warm-up next week. Only slight chances of rain this weekend. Tonight, a 20% chance of rain, mostly cloudy, low of 39. Thursday, mostly sunny, high of 53. Friday, sunny with a high of 55. Next week, a warm-up ahead. Saturday, partly sunny with a high of 63. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofing.sales.net.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS number 373031.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance, but Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Rolling on, baby. Do want to tell you that news was good. We found a winner. It's a man named Kelly. I do not know his last name. John's talking to him as we speak to let him know that he won. It went to voicemail, but I didn't think it would be fair that just because it went to voicemail, we don't give him the tickets. He did text the number, and he might be busy working. So
I was going with Mitch. So Kelly hits. Okay.
Congratulations to a guy named Kelly who has just won those tickets for tonight. Good for you, Kelly. Congratulations. 4 tickets to Florida State, Miami. Hey, you bring it on home, Kelly. We get that win. Screw the Canes. I know neither team is going anywhere. But we're going to play the game. And certainly if you're going to play the game against them, then you need to get it done. Win the damn game. Win the damn game. Also want to say thanks to my friends at Tried and True Consulting. By the way, Tried and True is taking over. This has been a great campaign. More folks signing up for the ad board and for the free ad board at that, by the way, if you're a Jeff Cameron Show advertiser. He went to the guys that he heard advertising with the show and said, hey, I advertise with Jeff. You advertise with Jeff. You know what? We're like-minded. I want to help you out. Let's do this thing. And last week, Don came to town. We had a lovely lunch, and he told me about 3 new clients jumping on board with Tried and True. I'm not kidding you. I was downright giddy. Love when people help the people that help us, and we all get together as a family. Good times, good times. We also announced that the golf tournament is on April the 17th. Now, I don't know when you want to tell people to sign up, Tom, but we'll get that out there to you. I mean, I know once we pull the trigger, it'll fill up quick.
Correct. Very soon. I would probably clean start next Monday would be a good time to just call it. You don't want to bury it on a Friday.
No.
Even though we have excellent listeners on Libations Friday. Feels like a Monday thing to roll out.
Live Spectator. Brian Kelly, the Alabama Slammer. No, it was not. Brother of the man named Sue, Hog Watcher, well done. I don't know which Kelly this was, but
Kelly Stinnett. A catcher. Kelly Stinnett.
Rennie Stinnett was.
Kelly Rudy. He was a goalie.
Mike, I'm not whining about the SEC. I'm whining about the SEC and the Big Ten having kneecapped college football and ruined the sport.
Yeah, Kelly Stinnett was a catcher.
But more than that, I'm talking about the situation Florida State finds themselves in, which has far less to do with the SEC or the Big Ten and more to do with the situation that we have not properly extricated ourselves out of yet. Also go to hell, Mike. So there's all of that.
14-year career for old Kelly Stinnett. Not bad.
14 years.
As a catcher. Impressive. He had 65 home runs in his 14-year career.
What year did Kelly call it a day?
07. So he played for the Mets in 1994. And then he played for Brewers.
That's where you had it. That's why you were.
Yeah. He closed with us too. Brewers, D-backs, Reds, Phillies, Royals, D-backs again, Yankees, Mets, and Cardinals. Well-traveled was Kelly Stinnett.
Yeah, I just think of Rennie Stinnett, who played for the Pirates. Rennie Stinnett. I think of Omar Marino. I think of the likes of say, Dale Berra. Baseball's the sport that does that, Tom.
It does, with great consistency.
It's I don't do that as much with football unless we're talking about like a Simeon Rice, Greg Spires. Like, you don't have to go back that far.
Greg Spires.
He was great on that team. Those two gentlemen were dominant off the edge.
Simeon should be a Hall of Famer.
I don't know. We need to go back and double check. You sure? I feel like that season, along with 2 others, were really dominant, but I'm not entirely certain that he had a protracted run like that.
Look up the most sacks of all time.
I really do hate that, by the way, they don't have the numbers for some of the prolific sack artists of yesteryear. Surely somebody could go back and watch that film.
Yeah. He's 30th all time in sacks. He's in the neighborhood of Dwight Freeney, who is in, Derek Thomas.
Well, he may very well get in. It's that the NFL has a screwed up, convoluted, woo, God, we're at the end of the show on a Wednesday, system by which the backlog of people that are waiting to get into the Hall of Fame is insane. They need to do what they did in 2020, where they have that mass, you're in. Sorry about that. We're letting 25 of you in this time so we can get caught up. Seriously, they do. Because they do this thing where 2 get in, 3 get in. Like 3? We got 18 receivers that deserve to get in based solely on the numbers. Inarguable receivers that need to get in, and you're going to let 3 total get in? That's not – they got to do better than that.
He had 8 seasons, did Simeon Rice, of 10 or better sacks. He had 6 of 12 or better. If you just go to a 17-game average, which is what Pro Football Reference does these days, don't like that. Still like the 16. I know that you probably like the 14. But
No, I like 16.
Like 16?
I'm not that old.
16's a good number?
Yes.
Averaging 12 a year. I mean, that's
For how long?
badass
For
stuff.
how long?
He played across 12 years, but I mean, for the most part, he was dominant for 10. Call it 10 years of dominance.
You go 10 years and you're dominant and you're a Pro Bowler and you are an All-Pro and you are a double-digit a year. You might be right, Tom. I think
7
probably right.
sacks and 7 NFL playoff games. I mean,
Top 30 is doing some things. But it's, how quickly does the Hall of Fame come to the mind when you say a player's name?
Yeah, for me, now this is where being a kid, before Simeon came to Tampa, he was one of the best in the game.
Oh, yeah.
So when we got him, I thought, oh my God, you're putting him next to Warren Sapp? Game over. And it kind of was. He did kind of live up to that.
He was dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's why, as a kid, I'm thinking about best pass rushers as a kid. Like Peppers, Reggie White, Simeon Rice.
God, watching Reggie White, that was insane.
My guy from Minnesota that I mentioned on my own last week.
Randall.
Yeah, John Randall.
Mm-hmm.
And he was of his time, like one of the few.
Yeah, John Randall was
Bruce
nuts.
Smith.
He was a lot of fun to watch. Well, Bruce Smith was also awesome and played forever. Good work out of you. Good to have you back, brother. And to all of you guys, we appreciate you very, very much. We hope you have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow when I can get sentences together at the end of the show. Peace.